All right, there we are. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream today. Today, I have Bruce the Moose with me. We're going to be talking about everything Laura Owens because that's all I talk about ever now. So, Bruce, do you want to introduce yourself to my chat? I don't even think you need to introduce yourself to anybody, but
Ladies
tell
and
me.
gentlemen, who am I? Well, I'm just a moose-shaped human. A human-shaped moose? One or the other. Anyway, I've been covering the case and following the case. I was originally hanging out with Dave Neal in the beginning, and somehow I found my way here. We can dig into it a little bit, but I'm an engineer. I have a background in management, engineering, team lead type of work, computer architecture, software engineering, that
Smart.
type that type of stuff, so that's my
How, how did you meet
TV.
Dave?
Yeah. So, I had an ex-girlfriend who was
Oh, yuck.
watching no, it's fine. I had an ex-girlfriend who was watching Bachelor in Paradise, and then I think it was Matt James' season of The Bachelor, and this is around when the work from home mandates started to happen, right, for the pandemic, and so I would at lunchtime, I would ride my exercise bike, and I had a tablet, and I would watch YouTube videos for a half hour. And because I was watching this Matt James season and that turned into, The Bachelorette, Katie Thurston and Michelle Young, and I would watch videos about the show, like, Bachelor Fan Take. He did these
Okay.
recaps, right? So, if I wanted to keep up, I had to watch the recaps, and, because I watched Bachelor Fan Take, the YouTube algorithm suggests Dave Neal to me, so one day I'm at lunch and I watched Dave Neal, and I just remember the first time I watched a video of his, I was like, "This guy talks a lot."
That's the whole point.
I
Were
know,
you doing
right?
content then or no?
Oh, no, no, no.
Oh, okay.
We'll get into that, but, so Dave back then, he would have these pre-show, post-show live streams, right? And so I started watching those, and I found those were more interesting than the show itself because Dave would talk about relationship issues or things that the show brought up, right? Topics tangential to relationships, like, what is gaslighting? Is it a thing or not? And we would talk about that on his live stream, and so I would call in, and I think he had me zoom in, like, for a New Year's Eve special or something, and we were talking about video editing or something. I've edited some video for him, so we just started hanging out. He came to a show in Seattle. He did a comedy show, so I met him up there, and, we've been pals ever since.
That's awesome. And then what made you decide to do your own channel?
Uh, yeah, so that gets into sort of post early case days. So we can go back to early case days, but
Okay.
for me, I probably would not be here right now talking to you or making any videos, or I would have never made a video or gone on Lauren's channel or anything if Laura Owens and her attorney, Gingras Esquire, had not continuously labeled people following the case as a cult.
Okay.
So one of the things I was into before this case was watching a lot of videos about, conspiracy theory debunking, debunk the flat earthers with science, right? And
Mhm.
things like that. And one of those people is a survivor of a cult. So I was watching a lot of his videos where he described what it was like growing up in a cult environment and escaping
Yeah.
and how do you differentiate a cult from any other organization and things like that. So I learned a lot from that person, and then so when Laura and Gingras started calling everybody cults or cult-like and all this, I said, "I gotta make a video because nobody's addressed this issue that they're doing, which is
Mhm.
not realistic. There's no cult here because to be a cult, you have to have an organization, number 1, and number 2, you have to be consistent with something like the BITE model of authoritarian control, which says the organization you belong to is controlling what you think, what you do, the information you receive, right?
Right.
And we've all just been getting court documents and reading them, going
Well, I mean, it's just everyone having critical thinking. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So, I got on that, angle of it, and then, of course, Gingras shows up and starts parroting the cult, lingo as well and insulting everybody, and he was on Twitter, and having interesting back and forths with people on Twitter. So I started making videos about that because
Yeah.
by that point, a lot of people were covering the main paternity case, right? Which I'm like, I don't need to do that.
Mhm.
It's fine. It's already done. But I liked covering these tangential issues, um, the Lisa Chen thing we can get into, the cult thing, Gingras going crazy on Twitter, Mary Lincoln's. I like covering those.
Mary Lincoln's.
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't
get
know what
into
that
that.
is.
Oh boy. Okay. We can get into that at some
Let me
point.
go ahead and write that down.
Yeah, so that's kinda how I got into it. So whenever there's something that I feel like somebody hasn't maybe covered yet, or there's a bee in my bonnet, I just make a video about it. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Okay. I mean, if there's one good thing that Laura Owens has done, it's brought us all together through
Yeah.
anger. One of the things that I want to talk to you about is, obviously I read the blog yesterday or whatever day that was. And, obviously we all think Gingras is a dipshit. Um, I know it's coming, but I personally haven't had anybody attack me on the internet.
Yeah.
What's that like? Like, I don't find you to be like a confrontational human being.
No.
I very much am, but are you just like you just seem so cool about it and so like whatever.
Well, I think there's 2 aspects. So, I think as soon as you get a sizable enough audience, like, I remember in the Bachelor days when Dave was covering The Bachelor a lot, we had this rule of thumb. Every video he did, if there was 100 comments, one of them would be angry or unhinged or just some crazy rude comment, right? It's
Mhm.
about a 100 to 1 ratio is what we observed. And I think you kind of have to develop a plan for handling that. Different people, like people that have been on the show The Bachelor, when they are leave the show, if they've been labeled a villain, which often happens, they'll do things like they'll have their friend or their brother or something, manage their social media and do blocking and delete things and just
Yeah.
because to do it yourself is very difficult.
Yeah.
So people develop strategies for dealing with this type of thing. Um, I've been fortunate that I don't get too many unhinged comments on my channel just because, maybe I just am too logical and I just say, here's 1 plus 1 equals 2. Are you going to scream at me for that? Like what?
Right.
But the part 2 is with this Gingras guy. I think the thing is, from the day he showed up on Twitter saying, "Hey, I'm Laura's new lawyer. Here's my filing," or whatever he did, he's been rude to people.
Oh my
And he's
god.
so, I mean, from day 1, I've made videos where I've gone over his tweets and the conversations he has with people that are arguing with him on Twitter, and he's just rude, and I've seen it over and over and over again. So, for this specific case, it doesn't really bother me that much because, look, he's got Omar and Lauren and Dave and Megan and Rachel Juarez on the naughty list. So if he wants to put me on the naughty list, like, it's a good club to belong to.
Right.
So I don't really care.
Yeah, I was just thinking like, cuz I mean, I get a lot of stupid comments on my channel and I'm like, there's never been any that have sat with me and I've been like, "Oh, this hurts my feelings." Like, and I just wonder, because I can only assume that a cease and desist or a blog is coming. So, I just wonder how that affects people sometimes, and I know it affects all of them differently. And, um, I mean, obviously, if nobody takes it or if you don't take him seriously, then it's just another thing. It just, I don't know, it bothered me. Like I was so mad for you. Like
Yeah, I think that's true. Like, I'm more concerned. I would rather see if he does one thing, if he would apologize to Dave Neal and Dave Neal's family for the things he's said about them, which there's
yeah,
multiple things that are just reprehensible.
yeah,
Like, he should do that before he thinks about me.
yeah. I heard a little bit about that through I think it was in the podcast where he
Yes.
said that they were gonna be homeless and the horses were gonna be on his land or whatever. Like
Yeah, he said if Dave Neal isn't careful, he's gonna face a $1.7 million defamation case. He's gonna be homeless. Laura's horses are gonna graze in his yard. Although
Right.
I think it's inadvisable to have a horse eat the type of grass we grow in our yards because it's not the right type of, but anyway, I digress.
I digress. Oh my god. What was it
Mhm.
about this case specifically that made you decide to physically go to the trial? Like, how do you get from just
Oh, yeah.
kinda dipping your toes into it to being like, "No, I have to be there."
Yeah. Well, let's start with the early days.
Okay.
So, in
Tell me,
the
I'm ready
early
for story
and
time.
this is some stuff that's not delved into in the podcast very much.
Mhm.
In the very early days, there was this Sun article, there was maybe some Reddit posts, and there was Dave, and maybe a Reality Steve, talking about it on a podcast, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, you did a live the other day where you said, "Oh, who should I interview?" And chat was able to come up with this huge list of people, right? In the early days, that list did not exist. There
Yeah.
was no such list. And Dave was all on his own, and he actually, by the time he had made over a dozen videos about this case, the things that were going on, the filings and everything, Laura was communicating with him and trying to get him to stop making videos, trying to feed him whatever information she thought she could tell him, and she wanted him to take down his videos.
Mhm.
And so there was a point in time where he did private about a dozen videos or 10 videos because he said, "Look, I already made those videos, we talked about it. We're moving on to see where the case develops to, so I'm just gonna do what she wants for her mental health and private these videos." And then, of course, the problem is with Dave, if you Dave privates the videos and immediately makes a video talking about how he privated the videos.
Good.
And
Good.
Dave is the kind of guy, like, if you remember the June 10th hearing and Laura's like, "Well, I fabricated this, HCG level to get Dave to shut up," basically is what she said, right?
Yeah.
And it's it just blew my mind that she said that because if you send Dave something, he's just going to make a video about it. Like, it doesn't matter if he's in line at Disney World or what, he's just gonna do it.
But that's
So,
the thing. I mean,
it's
she
such a bad
sent
strategy.
right. She sent essentially content to
Mhm.
a content
Yeah.
creator. This is what we do.
Yeah. So, Dave Dave kept following the case, and Laura took, umbrage with Dave continuing because she thought, "Dave, you're gonna hide these videos and never make more videos." But Dave is like, "Well, I privated the videos, but I'm gonna make more videos because there's more news."
Right.
So, eventually, she files a civil harassment restraining order in LA court because Dave was living in LA at the time, and she files a civil harassment restraining order against him. And so he has to, get into that and hire a lawyer, and we have to do all that. And so, I was sitting there like, okay, are we going to go to LA court? Like, I am going to go get a plane ticket because we have to go fight this. And, I had a lot of happy hour sort of Friday. I would go out and sit on my back deck Friday afternoons, and Dave and I would exchange like voice notes or text messages. And we would just sit there and we were like, "Should we just dip out of this whole thing? Like, is this you know, too much risk
Yeah.
versus, trying to figure out what's going on here?" And, so we decided to forge through it, or he did.
Yeah.
I mean, I that was my recommendation to him, but, luckily he decided to forge through it, and through after that point, um, Laura dismissed her restraining order request. The temporary part of it was denied by the judge because the judge was like, "This sounds like First Amendment issues to me. The guy lives in California, you're in Arizona, he's making videos, this is a First Amendment thing."
Right.
So, he did not grant a temporary restraining order, luckily. And so before they got to a hearing, uh, she dismissed the case, with, a stipulation like Dave shouldn't incite violence or something. Of course, Dave never incited violence.
Right. And I've watched some of his videos. He is insanely kind.
Yes.
And that's the thing is like, and obviously I think it's just because A, he's a guy, but B, he was one of the first people to cover this and she just wanted to try to save face. But, it's interesting because, I think that if he didn't go after her, or if he didn't fight it, she'd keep going. Like,
Mhm.
the more confidence she gains, the bigger she gets. It's like a weird Marvel power source. She just keeps escalating, and I'm glad that he did that because it is his right to be online and have opinions about also somebody who claims to be a public figure. She
Yes.
wanted to be what did she call herself? An internet personality or whatever? You're putting yourself out there. People are gonna make videos.
Yeah, her Instagram account said public figure. She had a
Ugh,
website named after herself with her phone number and email address. Her LinkedIn still has that she's the co-owner of all these LLCs.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it was sort of this what and the thing is that civil harassment restraining order case in some ways to me is a little more interesting than the paternity case because the paternity case is like, does Laura have clinical evidence of pregnancy, paternity, and or miscarriage? No. Okay, what do I do next? I can't do
Right.
anything with that because she failed to provide sufficient evidence. But when she files a civil harassment restraining order in LA against someone in a different state for making YouTube videos, that's a First Amendment issue.
Mhm.
And that becomes interesting to me. One of my gaming friends, Indy, he found that case far more interesting than the paternity case when I was describing these to him. Because he's like, you can't just, get a restraining order against a guy on YouTube who's reading court documents. That's
Right. Or a copyright claim it. Go
yeah.
talk to Maricopa County for releasing them then.
Yeah. Yeah. So as part of that, case, though, it was interesting because, you heard in the podcast about the Chase J. Jones incident, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Chase J. Jones was writing a Medium article about Clayton dancing and said it was, improper and was sending this to Dave and others to cover the story, quote unquote. And Chase J. Jones had joined Dave's Patreon. He has the email that shows, "Hey, you have a new subscriber. It's Chase J. Jones." And he's like, "Wait, what?" So when we suspected, because the Chase J. Jones email or IP address was from a server in Arizona or something, people suspected at this point in time that Chase J. Jones could be Laura Owens. So, as part of this civil harassment restraining order, his lawyer filed subpoenas for Chase J. Jones information and said, "Hey, Chase J. Jones, can you just get on a Zoom call with me and confirm your identity?" And Chase J. Jones refused to do this.
I have to tell you that any new correspondence I have with anybody, I assume is Laura.
I mean, maybe.
I'm like,
I mean,
like
gosh.
I'm always I'm
Yeah.
always very leery.
Yeah. So Dave's lawyer does this, and then Chase J. Jones files a motion to quash the subpoena. And the way Chase J. Jones did this was by e-filing from like one of these, post office box strip mall places in Seattle, Washington to LA court. Okay. And I remember because in the early days, it wasn't people were getting the court documents, but it was kind of a slow process, right? We didn't have this methodical process down yet.
Not
So
until you were
and
adult.
And in LA, you can get PDFs if you just pay for them. So I remember getting these motions to quash and like seeing this address in Seattle, and I'm like, what is the deal with this? And so Dave and I were trying to investigate and figure out, can we prove Chase J. Jones is Laura? And then eventually, the amazing thing is somebody did link Laura's phone number through two-factor authentication to the Google YouTube account, right? Of Chase J. Jones to her phone number. So it does appear, allegedly, that she's Chase J. Jones. And to me, this is very interesting, and it's not covered super in depth in the podcast, but to me, this is federal mail fraud because if Laura's in Arizona using a Seattle, Washington PO box to send court documents under somebody else's identity to LA court, this is interstate mail fraud.
Yeah.
So to me, this is like the biggest part of the story.
I've been thinking about it and I've been talking about it a lot with my mother-in-law and I'm like, let's say she takes the plea deal and this is disappointing for all of us.
Mhm.
She has conjured herself up so many little buckets of things. And I think a lot about the bankruptcy case and even though her withdrawing and I think drawing in the federal courts to your bank accounts is probably one of the worst things that you could do.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
curious as to if she takes the plea deal, how does the rest of this blow up in her face? And maybe this isn't what she goes to jail for, but maybe it's something else.
Yeah, exactly. I think these things are all independent. So the bankruptcy could result in some sort of further investigation or charges independently. California could result in independent investigation and charges, or there could be other things in Arizona that we don't even know about.
Yeah,
They're all independent, right? So we just have to see how it plays out. I'm a little skeptical that the bankruptcy feds would do anything because the Owens, both bankruptcy cases, like we're talking about, people on a pension, Laura not making any money. Yeah, maybe she lied on her taxes or something, but it's not like they're laundering billions of dollars. Like the feds probably have bigger fish to fry.
sure.
Um, so
Yeah,
I
but
don't
I
know.
just you see a lot of people who go to jail off a technicality of something else
Oh, yes,
because they can't
exactly.
get you for one thing, so maybe they can get you for another.
Yeah, and I think that's, we're all looking at that. Like, is there evidence here of something bigger that that she could be held accountable for? You know, that's what everybody's looking at
Yeah.
to
Were
wait and see.
you uh were you a content creator when you went to the trial?
Um, Gosh, I'm trying to remember. I feel like I had a few videos before June 10th. So the first thing actually was Dave and I went down to Arizona for a comedy show he did where Clayton did a Q&A after the show.
Okay.
This was probably after the February status conference and all that jazz. I feel like just a side quest for a minute. I feel like the February status conference is really where a lot of traction on this case with an internet audience took off because we watched all these goofy videos of the, order of protection, injunction against harassment, and those were all entertaining and everything. But at least for the legal aspects of the paternity case itself, the February status conference is the first time we saw in-person action live, right?
What was
And
that status conference? Because I don't think I've watched that yet.
And I actually think the February status conference is one of the most interesting things to review in this case. So, this was a status conference for the paternity case. This was the thing to get our ducks in a row before we have the June 10th hearing,
Right.
right? So,
I
Gingras
don't
isn't
think I've
here
watched
yet.
this one.
Yeah, you should watch it. Gingras is not there yet. So, we have Corey Keith, and Corey Keith this is the first time we've just discovered from, back in whatever it was, December, and this is the first time the case is getting updated about Laura's claiming to miscarry. So Corey Keith is up there saying, we think she miscarried, but miscarriages sometimes, Judge, let me explain miscarriages to you. And
They
everybody's like, wait,
explained this to me in the chat where he mansplains
yeah,
miscarriages. Yes, I have not seen this yet, but is Corey Keith the guy that looks like the villain from Die Hard?
maybe
He looks like, what's his name? Professor Snape,
Alan
Alan
Rickman.
Rickman, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, he eventually did after Laura later did a deposition and he did a motion of candor because he's like, this story I is not checking out, right? So he
Yeah.
did a motion of candor saying, I don't think any of this makes sense, which is basically what the bar is complaining Gingras didn't do, right? Right now. But the February status conference was really interesting because it had a lot of information in it that refutes a lot of what would come later in the Gingras filings. Like Gingras is like, "Oh, Laura just wanted to dip out in November or December." And that's not true. They were asking for their own sanctions and fees in February. They were like, "We're ready to go for June 10th. Bring it on." They were ready to put on a case.
Yeah.
So the idea that she really wanted to just dip out was not quite correct and all that. So I recommend rewatching the February status conference if you've only watched it once.
Okay, I'll get there. I don't recall doing this because I don't remember him explaining
Yeah.
miscarriage, and people have said it in my chat, and I'm like, "I really? Like, really?"
Yeah. And I think that was really a time where people got to see, here's Greg Woodnick in action. Here's Laura's there, Clayton's there. Like it became a real thing. Like I think that watching Dave show that video or while it was live or whatever it was really motivated a lot of people to get interested in the June 10th hearing. So when
Yeah.
Clayton talks about there were all these people at the June 10th hearing, I think it was because they had seen the February status conference and were like, this is amazing. I want to go.
Yeah, I also just think it's because she at that point by that point, had affected so many people. How many
Yeah.
people got cease and desist? How many people, was she sending, fake ultrasounds to? It was Reality Steve, it was Dave, it was Liz Neptune, right? I believe is a name that's come up. It was,
Yeah.
Megan Fox got a cease and desist, right? I mean, if I got a cease and desist, I told my husband, I was like, "I'm waiting for it," and I said, "I would fly to Arizona first class to fight her
Yeah.
in person," and I think that is too is like, you can send all these cease and desist and try to take, videos down and do copyright claims. It's another thing to see these people in person. So, when you went,
Yeah.
w what's the lens with that, right? Like, are you a viewer? Are you
Mhm.
a researcher? Are you a
Yeah.
supporter? Like, how when you get to the June 10th hearing,
Yeah. Minute by
what are you
minute.
feeling?
Well, let's go back to March because the first time I went down there, Dave and I went down there for his comedy show with Clayton in the Q&A, right? And,
Were you worried she was gonna show up?
and at that point, that was the first time any of us had gone to Arizona or anything like that. And I just remember so Dave was coming in on a flight near my flight. I was the first one. And then his buddy was coming in from LA on a bus because he was gonna do the comedy show. So all 3 of us, I was gonna get a rental car, drive us around. So we are just gonna meet near the rental cars. And I just remember, like, getting off the airport, you know, I had a carry-on, and I go to where, the Hertz is gonna be down here. So I find a place, it's like, seats, and there's a
Is this the
Starbucks.
first time you've met him in person?
No, I'd met him
Oh, okay.
before.
Okay.
Um, but I was in Arizona, and at that point in time, we were still, Laura was kinda like a boogeyman, like, people we called her Jane Doe. We didn't know what she would do.
Yeah,
So the first time I go to Arizona, I'm just, like, in the airport all alone, and I'm just, like, looking around like, she could be, like, staking out the airport because she knows this comedy show is gonna happen.
right.
And so we go Dave and I go to the, green room of the comedy show pretty early, right? Because he likes to get there super early. And I just remember, like, we're hanging out in the green room, and the security guy comes in for the club, and he's like, "I hear there might be some problems tonight." And so I'm, like, busting out my phone, and I'm, like, showing him pictures of Laura and Laura's mom, and I'm like, "If you see these people, come find me." I'm like, "I don't know what I'm gonna do about that," but
Right.
I was like, "I guess I'm Dave's bodyguard here today," like, so
Yeah.
that was the role, like, I'm just but anyway, it was hilarious because Clayton just did an interview on She's All Batch where he explained that Nick Viall cut out Dave's name from an interview.
I When he answered that question, I was like, "Yes!"
I know. So the funny thing is, at the Q&A of that comedy show, I asked Clayton that same question, but he wouldn't answer. So I think now I've learned if I want Clayton to answer a question, I have to put a attractive woman in front of him first, and then I can
I
get him to
think
answer the
what I
question.
think about Clayton, though, is I think, when he talks about who he was and how, um, robotic he was, I think he was trying to be as diplomatic as possible, right? And he's starting to get on these
Yeah,
podcasts, and I mean, the Vial Files is big.
yeah,
So, I mean, I'm sure he didn't wanna, like, burn that bridge, but having that correspondence and that, like, camaraderie or friendship with Dave, I'm
mhm,
sure it did piss him off. It would piss me off.
yeah. So, anyway, I'm just giving Clayton a hard time, but, that's what the comedy show was like. It went pretty smooth. I remember, to get back to the impact that this case has had on the victims, right? We wanted, Greg Gillespie, he lives in town. He's has an invite to this comedy show, right?
Yeah.
And he was, somebody had connected me with him, a mutual friend, and, he was like, "I don't know, man, like, Laura will try to do anything to get anybody caught in a trap. I don't know if I should go into the comedy show. I'm really
Mhm.
scared." Like, this is a huge dude, like a football player. And I'm just like, "Look, man, I'm looking out. She's not here. The security guy knows the score. We can walk you in, all this stuff, right?" So it has a huge impact on their mental health.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter about his size, he's got the DVRO against him. If
Yeah.
he's within 50 feet of her, she's gonna
Yeah.
call the police, and it's gonna
Mhm.
be a problem for him.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
with somebody with a family and kids, and I can't imagine the kind of stress that puts on you, especially when you live in the same area.
Very stressful. Yeah. Yeah. So that was the, comedy show, and then, of course, we went back for the June 10th hearing,
Mhm.
which was pretty wild. So, for the June 10th hearing, my mission was really just to help Dave with his, live streaming and everything because, I'm the kind of person I know I have a channel and everything, but I'm the kind of person, if I don't wanna be on stage, I wanna be behind the soundboard. I don't wanna be performing, I wanna be doing the lights or something, right?
Yeah.
I don't wanna make the video, I wanna edit the video. But, that's my style. So my goal was to, like, help with the, production of the streaming and everything and make sure everything went okay. So, after the February SAS conference, we kinda knew the June 10th thing was gonna happen. We knew when it was. So I booked Clayton's Airbnb.
Oh, wow, okay.
And,
You're
when
the
I booked
organizer guy.
yeah, so I booked that, and then, of course, he sends me a message and he's like, "Okay, do you want the pool heated or the hot tub heated or both?" Because that's, like, his place. And I'm like, "Oh, just heat the hot tub because it's June, we don't need the pool heated." And I'm like, "By the way, I'm Dave Neal's moderator, and we're gonna be in your Airbnb for this June 10th thing. Like, I have to tell you this." And
Right.
he's like, "Oh, yeah, it's cool, it's alright." And so I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is good." So a couple of us stayed there because 'cause it's got, like, 4 bedrooms, and we stayed in the, Airbnb. It was a nice time. And then Dave is hilarious. He has this vision, right? Like, "I'm going to rent a van, a media van for this court hearing." And I'm like, "Dave, do you
Where
really need
does
to do
one
that?"
rent a media van?
Yeah, I don't know. He goes online. There's, like, these, rent an RVs for your vacation, right? There's people who buy expensive RVs and rent them out and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And of course, Dave is trying to save money. So Dave rents somebody's converted Sprinter van basically.
Oh,
and
no.
and and because Dave is coming from Reality Steve's Vegas party, he doesn't have time to go pick up the van. So Megan Fox is getting because her parents are out there. She's there. So she goes to get the van and she has to go out to this place called Buckeye in Arizona or something. And I guess it's like sort of like the Mad Max desert. There's guys driving buggies with masks on and stuff like
Yeah.
like you're in the outback of Australia or something in Buckeye. And I just remember being in the patio of Clayton's Airbnb and this van drives up and the front window rolls down and it's Megan Fox, who I'd never met before. And she sticks her head out the window and she says, "Bruce, where do I park this fucking thing?" It's so funny.
Oh my
But
god.
But anyway, so we figure out, Dave's cameras and we're gonna have microphones and where the microphones go and the roadcaster and all this jazz. And I've got a cell phone booster, and we put that and we get so Dave and I get there at the courthouse parking lot super early. We're like the first ones there. So we get the best parking spot we can get. We get one with a space next to it for the pop-up tent, which I think was one of the icons that Stephanie used in when, talking about the June 10th hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a pop-up tent because the sun was brutal, it was very hot,
Yeah.
and, we just it's like, "What are we doing?" And Lauren had come to the Airbnb the night before because Lauren had the permission to, stream the hearing.
Oh, wow, okay.
So but Lauren, she doesn't have any gear, so her friend Scott in Scottsdale is has some gear, and I brought some gear. So I was showing her the gear I brought that she could borrow for the streaming. And then between my gear and Scott's gear, we got it done. It's amazing. He happened to have this one very particular XLR cable that's not normal. It's like male to male or female to female cable to hook into the court audio. And
Oh, no.
if he hadn't had that cable in his truck randomly, we wouldn't have had audio,
Oh,
or
no.
we wouldn't have had very good audio from her stream. So that was amazing. And so I went in and helped. It was pretty surreal. Like everybody, the court security was very, very good. They said you can take photos and video beyond these pillars, but not in front of them close to the building. There's going to be a bunch of people here, so I want you to line up this way, and then we'll let you in at a particular time and there's an overflow room. So it was very, people are like, "Oh, it's a circus or whatever." It was very calm actually.
Yeah.
Um, The most surreal moment for me was, Dave and I were setting up. We were there early. Some other people had started to show up, but then the extra court security showed up, and we didn't know who they were. And so it was like all these guys in tactical gear getting out of trucks a few spots down from me and Dave. And I'm like, "What is my life right now?" Like, there's SWAT guys. Who are these people?
Right.
Like, why are they what is happening? So that was kind of surreal. But once we got Lauren set up, then I just went back to help, Dave, and we were able to watch Lauren's stream. Dave had all I had printed out like, David sent me this big file of all this stuff to print out, and he was, like, holding up sheets of fake sonograms in front of the camera in the van and stuff. And, uh, and at some point, the air conditioning in the van, like, it was on a gas generator. We ran out of gas. So we had to just run the air conditioning from the cabin, right? The engine,
Oh,
which
no.
wasn't all the best.
Yeah, and
It was
and
pretty hot.
I'm watching the chat, they said it was, like, 115 that day?
It was, yeah. Now it's a dry heat, but yeah, it was crazy. So anyway, so Dave is going to see why the air conditioner kicked off, and that's when Laura has her meltdown, and we have this 15-minute break, right?
Right,
From the
because
June 10th
everybody's
stream.
laughing at her in the courtroom.
So Dave is just like, "Just talk to the people." So I sit down and I'm just like, "All right, what do we got?" I start reading comments. I'm like, "This is what Megan Fox is texting me things, during the break," and I'm like trying to read it and look at chat. And, that was it. I guess, people in chat were like, "Who is this guy?" I'm like,
Who's
"I
this
don't know."
man in his suit
I
talking about
know. So
so you
anyway,
guys
yeah, that
are
was the,
sitting
June
in the
10th
van
hearing.
you guys are sitting in the van, and obviously, when you're in the courtroom, you have to have a certain there's a code of conduct, right? You can't say anything, which is why it was a big
Absolutely, yeah.
deal when people were laughing.
Yeah.
What were you guys just, like, screaming at the live stream when you were in the van, especially when she went up on cross-examination?
D Dave was going crazy.
I bet.
Um, and
I've watched it now, like, last week. It's 2 years after it's happened, and just to watch it,
yeah.
all unfold, it's crazy.
Yeah, so Dave was sort of in the back with the table we had set up, so he was facing the back of the van, and the camera's facing him, and I'm in the passenger seat because it's easier to sit in than the driver's seat, and I'm listening to Lauren's stream on my phone, so I'm listening to the same thing he's listening to, and I just remember when she got to, uh, "Well, it didn't include LA, Planned Parenthood,"
Right.
and I just turn around and look at Dave, and Dave is just, like, losing his mind, and it was just like a moment. It was
Yeah.
crazy, it was crazy. I don't know, but, we did that, and, oh my gosh, it was wild, yeah.
What was it like after going through all of this and after seeing everything that Dave's gone through and everything that the other content creators have gone through? And I don't know if you've been personally attacked by them at this point. What was it like to see her in person?
Um, I don't know, I mean, it's this thing where you're like, "Oh, yeah, that's her," because,
Mhm.
we were sort of parked in the main part of the parking lot in front of the doors, where there's, like, the fire lane in front of it,
Okay.
and then as you go to the right, there are sort of vertical spots against the building. And that's where they had parked. So her and her mother and MedChill and Gingras sort of all walked in. They had a bodyguard too, I think. And so they were on the sidewalk going into the building. So they weren't super close. Like it wasn't like they walked right by me or anything. Um, but it was just sort of like, oh yeah, that's them. I don't
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'd love to ask Dave that question. Like, what's it like to go up against somebody? Because I mean, through a screen is very different.
Yeah.
And so to go up against them in person has to feel very different, like,
Yeah.
to see them in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Did being in the same room as her or being in the same courtroom or just in that, um, what do I wanna call it? In that environment, right?
Yeah.
Does that change the way that you understood any part of this case? Did anything about it make more sense to you, make less sense to you? Like, does it change the way you perceive the whole thing?
Um, that's a good question. I don't know. I think
Mhm.
if you see a video of a hearing, you get to hear what somebody in person hears. There are these intangible things of being there in person. I think it's more these ancillary things. Like I got to meet Hey Rob. Hey Rob
Okay.
was there. He helped me, Hey Rob
He's in the chat.
he put the sunscreens up in the tech van, the silver sunscreens up for us. So, I mean, it's these intangible things. When I went to the DVRO renewal hearing, because I went to that one too, because I happened to be in the Bay Area randomly for work, and, I was
And this
sitting
was
next.
for Mike.
Yeah, this was the Mike case in San
Okay.
Francisco, and I was sitting next to Mike's sister for this 5 minutes that Lauren and I just talked about, because the hearing only took 5 minutes. But when it was over and she's like, "This thing I'm dismissing this thing." And just I could literally feel the relief and just the, decompression sitting next to her.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like it's all fun and game for myself, right? It's all fun and games. You get to watch this stuff, you get to say whatever you want. But to be in the room surrounded by real victims, surrounded by real perpetrators, I'm sure it feels very, very different.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, Mike came by and talked to, our stream for a few minutes. I think Greg was just maybe he was hoping to, be able to testify, right, and was
yeah.
disappointed he couldn't. Um, Clayton left with his family because I think because he didn't feel safe, which again goes to the mindset of these
Yeah,
victims. But Clayton went back to his condo and called into the stream later. So it was, you know and the other thing, back we're at the Airbnb, and I'm just trying to leave the guy alone, right? Like, I don't need I'd already met him at the comedy show, right? He did his Q&A.
mhm.
So, we check into the Airbnb, and he shoots me a message, and he's like, "Hey, can you check if this towel rack is messed up in the bathroom?" So I go in there, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's in the drawer, like, it looks like it fell off the wall." And he's like, "Alright, I think I need to come take a look at that." So he comes over, and then he just starts talking to us about everything.
I bet. I mean, I can't
And
imagine going through that and just not having
yeah.
anybody to just, like, unleash all of these feelings on.
And I think that's it, like, we were there basically for this case, so we understood the context, and he could just say whatever he needed to say to sort of decompress, because the next day was gonna be he called it his Super Bowl.
Yeah,
He was on the Seahawks practice squad, and for him, this is the equivalent of, in football, the Super Bowl, so, I can't imagine.
tell me what it was like after the June 10th hearing was over.
Yeah. I think one big change is, Dave started saying her name.
Okay.
It was either after the judgment came out or after the hearing itself, but we would always call her Jane Doe,
Mhm.
right? But I think after the hearing, and especially after the Mata judgment, um, that was done, and it was just a matter of what's next? Is there an appeal? There could
Yeah,
be an appeal, and they did try to do an appeal. Okay, she referred an investigation for criminal prosecution. Is that gonna happen? So then we did the letter writing campaign that
mhm.
Megan Fox started and participated in that. So I think it was just kinda like, what we were glad that Clayton got to testify and tell the story the way he did. We were glad that Deandra got to cross-examine Laura on all of these things that needed to be
Yeah,
examined. And, we then just spent the next few weeks analyzing everything from the hearing, right? What exactly did MedChill say here? What exactly did Dr. Dean say here? We did all that.
sure. What I mean, obviously, you guys have studied this case. You saw what she did to Dave. At this point, you're starting to get to know Clayton. You see the impact that it has on Clayton. What was it like for you to hear the fact that she just openly accused him of rape on the stand?
That was very wild, and there was information somewhere, I can't remember where it came from, um, but there eventually, I can't remember if it was December or something like that, that came out in a court document, right? Maybe it was the pre-June 10th hearing,
Okay, so you saw that coming.
affidavits. So, here's the thing, Dave and I knew that was coming,
Okay.
and I don't remember exactly how we knew, but we knew she had this card that she might play,
Yeah.
okay?
But to
And
say
then
it out loud under oath, why am I surprised? But to
yeah.
say it out loud under oath, you know what I mean?
So, I mean, and I'm talking very early on, Dave and I were aware she could play this card, and we did not talk about it
Okay.
until it was in a court filing. But, so I was a little prepared, but I don't think the general audience was prepared for that.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah. I mean, especially knowing what she's capable of. I obviously you have the insight to Dave, and now you have the insight of, you have hindsight now, right? So for her to
Mhm.
make this accusation, you're like, all right, yeah, this does not surprise me. You're trash. But at that moment, when I mean, I feel like people are still trying to figure out how far she'll go.
Yeah.
And that for me, I was just like, how do you do that? Um
Yeah, especially considering that now that we've seen this ADRE complaint where she says there was no intercourse.
She says it so many times
Yeah.
through all different, when she's talking to the doctors on telehealth and whatever. I mean, it's very clear that she has admitted multiple times that they have never had intercourse,
Yeah.
which is which is horrifying to think.
Mhm.
And then she goes on the stand under oath to accuse this man of a heinous crime.
Yeah, and she plays this game where it's like, "Well, it fits a technical definition." Or she says, "Well, I think he did it, but I don't wanna make a deal out of it," or something. Like, she wants the benefit of it, but she doesn't want the responsibility from it, right? Her original paternity case filing has the, was it crime or DV? Like, that no crime or DV was checked. The
Right,
checkbox is empty, right? Or so she's saying he didn't do anything criminal in her application of the paternity case.
right.
But then on June 10th, it's basically because they're looking for anything they can do to undermine Clayton's credibility, right? And that includes the thing about the offers in the real estate deal and this. And, you know, I don't know. It didn't come off very well. I think Dave likes to say the Latin, right? Falsus in uno, falsus in omnibus. I prefer the concept that trust is hard to earn and easy to lose. And I think throughout this case, Clayton has maintained his trust level and Laura has lost her trust level. It's very
Yeah.
hard to believe her
I think
accusations.
the other shocking part about that, though, is, like, for Laura to throw that out watching that, for Laura to throw that out, it's like, "Whatever, you're a piece of shit, we get it." For Gingras to
Yeah.
allow her to throw that accusation out and then follow through with it, I'm like, "Bro, like, what are you doing?" He just lets her he's a yes man to her. He just lets her say whatever she wants, and then he's just like, "Yeah, we'll go with that. Okay."
Mhm.
And now you have the 2 of them in on it, talking about how Clayton assaulted her in front of a judge in a courtroom.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And it becomes this sort of fog of war of who is making the most errors or who is being disingenuous. It's like the thing in the bankruptcy with the $450,000 money market account. She repeatedly said, "I have $450,000 in a money market account." She gets to June 10th and says, "I don't,"
Right.
even though the affidavit submitted right before it said she did. She gets to the bankruptcy case and says, "Oh, well, my attorney wrote it in there wrong."
Right.
And it's like, who's doing you know, the dirty work here? Who or is it all incompetence or like, what's going on?
Well, that's one of the things that I brought up in my
More
video about
chaos.
the bankruptcy. Either
Mhm.
A, he brought that to you and you authorized it, or
Yes,
B, you're claiming forgery from Gingras.
or incompetence
Oh, yeah.
as as opposed to willful, uh, you know,
Well, and Gingras
disin
has no problem
dishonesty.
admitting that he's incompetent. I mean,
I don't know.
he just is like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't do it. Sorry, before my time."
Yeah.
I'm wondering, and I said this the other day when I was going through the blog that he wrote about you. I'm wondering if there's ever a time, because I don't see her as a person who ever has any sort of loyalty. And I'm wondering if there's ever a time where she turns on Gingras and she goes after him.
I mean, people have been saying that since he came on board
Yeah.
because she's burned through so many other lawyers. Everybody's like, "Oh, when is she gonna file a bar complaint against him?
Right?
When is she gonna start accusing him of something crazy?"
Right.
And so that's been speculation from the start,
Yeah.
but here we are.
I
Also,
mean,
I don't think it's really a blog about me. He kind of I don't know, he insults me, but he doesn't say anything about me that's accurate. Like, I don't know. What a what a mess. The what it's so funny because the next day he posted some sort of correction, right? I
I
don't think
haven't read that one
you
yet.
haven't read
I
through
need to
it,
get
but
to that one.
he sort of posts this weird correction that he's gotta amend the record thanks to me and Patrick, I guess. But, my 2 problems were really he's just rude, number 1, and number 2, he attributed this idea that I think he's misleading the court, which I never said. So, his blog is just wrong.
I'll
Like,
say it. That's my opinion all day long. That I
well,
mean,
I may hold that opinion. My point is that I never said it
okay.
on my stream, and he alleges I said it on my stream, and I didn't. So,
Well,
he's
and
just
here's the
wrong.
thing. I mean, if you didn't, not you, if Gingras didn't mislead the court,
Mhm.
feel free to use the blog to disprove that point. Like,
Yeah.
and he did anything else but prove his point. The
Yeah,
only thing he did was argue about why it's okay for him to accept $400 an hour to be a shit lawyer.
I guess, yeah. I always thought it was interesting that he wanted to do PR and be a litigant or a respondent in this bar case because if your argument is good enough, your filing should speak for itself. You shouldn't have to go on your blog after you do the filing and then explain it to everybody after everybody reads your filing and thinks this doesn't make sense.
I have to tell you, when I was dealing with lawyers last year, my lawyer, well, and also too, right? Like, I know he's working by himself, like he has his own thing, but I would talk to the paralegal and then the paralegal would go to the lawyer. And you don't want to talk to the lawyer because to talk to the lawyer costs much more than the paralegal.
Yeah, like 4 to 5 times, yeah.
Right. But they barely had time to talk to me. And I would just go through like email. The amount of time this man has as a full time lawyer is insane to me. And the fact that he would give up time and money and do pro bono work for her afterwards, after the judge found this judgment. Why? Why? What are you doing?
Yeah, his whole story is, it's not just a side quest, it's an entirely different video game altogether.
Right.
Yeah.
It's insane. I don't understand, especially for someone that you don't know. She just walked into your office one day and you're like, "I'm just gonna tank my entire career for you."
Yeah. The thing I always was interested in, he would threaten that he was gonna make a video explaining why he believed Laura and why he believed she was pregnant, and then he didn't make that video, but I noticed I think it was in the Reality Steve interview or discussion with Rachel, he basically said, "Well, Woodnick said these things I think are dishonest or I don't agree with, therefore I think Laura's telling the truth." And that's not how a determination of truth works.
Right.
Laura can be lying and theoretically Woodnick can be lying. It's not that one implies the other. So I've never understood why he, thinks Laura was pregnant, if he really did. He's always calling people out for lying. He'll say, "It's full of lies," or "Dave Neal lied about stuff." And you're like, "What did he lie about? Like, show me. Go get the URL, go get the timestamp, convince me that Dave misspoke, number 1, and then
Right.
prove that Dave misspoke with the intention to deceive people." Because even if Dave flubs a line, he inverts a not or is, and makes a mistake, doesn't mean he's trying to deceive people. And he never follows up these accusations with any details.
I just for a man who argues with the internet as much as he does,
Yeah.
I guess I just don't understand it because I'm the kind of person, I said what I said. If you have a problem with what I said, feel free to prove me wrong. I am not above apologizing. I'm not above eating crow, but until you get to that point, I said what I said. With him, he just keeps saying shit and none of it is factual. And that's the thing, and everybody's talked about it, like, to prove her pregnancy is so easy. If he came out and he said, "This is the original sonogram sealed from Planned Parenthood Los Angeles. Suck it, JFC." I'd be like, "Damn,
Yeah.
she was pregnant."
I know, that's all we wanted really, like,
But
clinical
you
proof of
can't do it.
pregnancy, paternity,
The fact that
miscarriage.
you can't do it and you keep talking is wild to me.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, their best, course of action at some point was to just say, "Look, Laura believed she was pregnant," and he says that today, right? And he says, "That's enough." But anyway, their best course of action would have been to say, "Laura believed she was pregnant, and now we know she failed to bring sufficient evidence to court. So we will pay the legal fees, leave us alone." If they had sort of done that, I think maybe we wouldn't have even had a criminal investigation.
I don't know. I
So
don't know.
there you
I
go.
think it was far before that. I think it was Jindris hooking up with her and those 2 being like, "Yeah, we're gonna bring this to court," and him thinking this is my opinion. I
Mhm.
think he thought he was such a good lawyer that he was gonna come in and he was gonna destroy Clayton, and this was gonna put him on Emily D. Baker timeline, like, he was just gonna be the
Yeah,
lawyer
maybe.
of YouTube, because there is such a sense of, like, grandioseness with him that he wants to be in front of the camera, he wants to be a content creator, he wants to be, the guy that everybody goes to, and I
Mhm.
mean, had he won this case and proved an actual point, yeah, everybody would have been like, "Damn, you're the guy."
Mhm.
But, he wasn't, and that's where I wonder if Laura has anything on him because she could have just gone through this. The judge would have, probably awarded the fees to Clayton and left it alone, but
Mhm.
he put gasoline on it, and that's what really just led her into the fire and got her the 14 felony counts. I don't think that the 14 felony counts happen without Gingras.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, it's hard to tell. Some of the counts, if you look at them in exquisite detail and line them up in the timeline, some of them occurred before he was there. Some of them occurred after he was there. So for at least some of them,
Mhm.
they were before his time. However, your point is that would this totality of counts even exist at all if he hadn't gotten her through June 10th and these appeals? And that's an interesting point.
Well, and putting her on the stand, giving her the confidence to go up on the stand. They didn't have she did not have to do that.
Yeah, they could have just called MedChill or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I think they kinda had to call her on the stand because it's her she's the petitioner. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think if I were a lawyer, right, and I know that my client is Laura, not only,
Mhm,
a liar, but extremely unlikable, right?
mhm.
And she's not good at yes or no questions. I think as a
No.
lawyer, I would have been like, "Listen, I'm gonna need you to sit here and stay quiet because if they cross-examine you, you are in trouble. And I'm going to get Clayton up on the stand and I'm going to tear him apart. And my focus would have been on Clayton and his
Mm,
focus was on his own client. And that's
mhm.
what I don't understand. You have a client who's up there just trying to say she's pregnant with no actual physical proof. Why
Yeah.
was that ever your game plan?
I think his thought process is like, "Look, I don't care if Laura was pregnant or not from a legal perspective. She thought she was pregnant, so she brought a case. At some point, she thought she miscarried, so she wanted to leave the case, but we're sitting here discussing fees and sanctions, and that's stupid." That's his overarching theory of the case, right?
Which it's she brought the sanctions don't exist if she never brought it to the court.
Yeah, true.
Don't start none, won't be none. Like that's just how it is. She started this
Yeah,
and somebody has to end it and they ended it.
yeah. Well, the from a legal perspective, it was because Clayton filed a response. So because he filed a response, you have to finish the legal matter, including everything in the response, to conclude the entirety of the matter. She can say, "I want to dismiss,"
Sure.
or "I don't wanna do anything else," but the judge has to complete the process, and
Well, and
so
that's the
that's
other
where
thing.
she was screwed.
Right. But that's the other thing too is he argues this isn't family court isn't where we should be talking about this. It
Yeah.
is his legal right to have a rebuttal.
Yeah, exactly. Gingras is correct that Clayton could have argued to dismiss the paternity case and then gone and filed a defamation case or something else. He's 100% correct in that. The thing he's not correct about is that's not the only thing he is supposed to do. He can also respond to the paternity case and ask for fees and sanctions during the matter of the paternity case.
Right.
And that's perfectly fine too. So to get out of that, Gingras has to try and hook his case on Rule 26 and the safe harbor and argue that in Arizona, Rule 26 and the safe harbor has to be interpreted just like very specific federal Rule 11, which is
Mhm.
not true. And the appeals court, upheld that, hey, look, they yeeted their Rule 26 sanctions request. They originally requested fees and sanctions under Rule 25. They
That was gonna
got
be my
fees and
next point.
sanctions under
Right.
Rule 25. We're done here. This
Right.
appeal doesn't make any sense.
Well, and that was the thing. I'm watching this and I'm not in Arizona, so I'm trying to get a good understanding of, I'm trying to do what Gingras could never, and that's due diligence on the things that I'm arguing about. And, I was reading this and before I even watched the debate between him and Rachel Juarez, and everybody's like, "Hey, just make sure you familiarize yourself with Rule 26." And I looked through the case and I looked through the appeals, and I'm like, "But they awarded it off Rule 25. Why is this your
Yes.
argument?
Yes.
I don't understand." It doesn't make any sense. I
Yeah.
wonder if this is why he's in a law group of his own because he can't play nice with others.
Yeah, Megan Fox calls that sandbox issues. It's like you gotta be able to play with the other kids in the sandbox properly and not get put in timeout, and he can't do that apparently.
I wanna interview Greg Woodnick and be like, "What is it like to know that you are this man's end game and that he wants to be you so bad that he wants to wear your skin?"
Oh, boy.
What do you think?
Ooh.
Because I've seen a couple of larger outlets now starting to cover this, and it's interesting because I haven't watched it just because I know the case now, and but I have looked at the comments, and a lot of people aren't necessarily happy with the way some of the story is being told. What is it that you think that the public still doesn't fully understand about this case or what Laura Owens actually did?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think we
Sorry.
talked about some of it earlier. In the early days of the case, there was a Sun article, there was some Reddit posts,
Hmm.
and then, the Reddit post moved from the big Bachelor sub to there was a tiny Bachelor sub because the 2 didn't get along or something, and then from the tiny Bachelor sub to this R Laura Owens, and then that got shut down. Now finally we have this R Justice for Clayton, which is stuck. But in the early days, it was just like there was a little bit of Reddit content, there was The Sun, and there was Dave Neal.
Yeah.
And then at some point there was Reality Steve. And I think people don't understand. how hard that is. And we didn't know all the things we know now at that point in time. So we were constantly second guessing ourselves. And I think it's like you have to have a focus on trying to drill down to the facts. And the other thing, you have to figure out how to crowd source all of this work. So that sort of happened naturally in this case, right? Dave would do a live stream and he'd be like, "Well, we got this ultrasound." And somebody in the chat would be like, "I do ultrasounds for a living. Let me call you and
Yeah.
talk to you on your live stream." Um, there are people who can look at metadata like Brad. There are lawyers that eventually hopped in the case like MG Law, Legal Vices, rest in peace,
Mhm.
right? And Omar. And, you know, getting those people to say, "Look, we think this ultrasound's fake. Here's a nurse, here's a doctor. They agree with us or they're gonna set us straight on how it works."
Yeah.
A lawyer, MG Law, is gonna tell it to us like it is. He's not gonna, steer us wrong. So, building that community over time was super critical, and I think, the story is very focused on, like, Laura did this, then there was this trial, then these lawyers did that, but the court of public opinion story is just this massive thing that I think people don't know a lot about.
Yeah, I think one of the things too is just people wanted to get involved and they wanted to help because her claims and her stories are consistently so egregious that you're just like, dude. Like, no. And that's the thing, right? When
Yeah.
you get Dave Neal's fan base and it's a bunch of women, it's women who have been through domestic violence, sexual assault, it's people who have had miscarriages, it's people who have had stillbirths, it's people who have been affected in one way or another by the things that she's using as a
Mhm.
weapon against these men, and it makes you angry.
Yeah, and I think that anger at the sort of stolen valor, whether it's about miscarriage or race or pregnancy or anything else, finances,
Yeah.
that outrage across the board is why so many people get into the case and follow it. And I think that's something else the general audience may not understand is that it's not just because there's salacious details. It's not because of the ABC TV show. It's because there's something here that resonates with people. Like, I
Yeah.
made a video because this guy and his client kept saying, "Everybody's a cult, and they're like flat earthers, and they don't wanna see evidence." And I'm like, "You don't know what a cult is, buddy."
Well, and also, all we're doing is looking at evidence,
Yeah,
literal court documents.
yeah, and, that's the thing. I think as people go back, if I can give people, like, advice or something, if you're gonna go back and watch the February Stats Conference, the June 10th hearing, listen to the deposition transcript audio on Love Trap podcast. The thing you have to do with Laura is really focus in on what is the actual fact that you can be precise about to get her to, I don't know, answer your question, yes or no, or, just prove that she's just a troublemaker. A great example of this is actually in the police body cam footage. Have you watched that?
The body cam footage?
Yeah, from the, search warrant.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's a moment she's in the living room and she's arguing about whether they can search her mom's phone,
Right,
and the police officer very calmly says, "Setting your mom's phone aside is not the same as searching the phone."
right.
It's very similar to making an appointment and canceling the appointment is not the same as making the appointment and seeing Dr. Higley last Friday.
Mhm.
This is what you have to do when these people are talking to Laura, or if you're listening to conversations she has when she's under oath, when she's writing Medium blogs. You need this mindset of, I need to get to the fundamental, precise detail, because if you slip up on the precision with her,
Mhm.
she will do one of two things. She will either make her argument broad or she will narrow it down. So if
Yep,
you say, "Laura, don't you have a pattern of doing the same thing to Clayton that you did with these other guys?" And she'll say, "No, it's not the same thing
right.
because Clayton's a paternity case Greg's abortion coercion and Mike's a DVRO. They're not the same at all. You have to get to something that's very, very specific. Like you are in this litigation case in this year, this litigation case in this, you know, when Woodnick said in that deposition audio, you have 4 men who will claim you faked pregnancy, correct? She has to say yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they tried to do it again in June 10th, and she says, well, the first was not so specific about that. Like she sort of tries to redirect. Once you've gotten her to this point of focusing on the details and getting the precision dialed in,
Yeah.
you'll redirect. Because what did she say to that police officer in the body cam footage? She said, this is the most insane thing I've ever seen.
Right.
Okay, well, that's an opinion, and it's probably not the most insane thing you've ever seen. You're just not responding to the logical argument that the police officer just made, which is that setting a phone aside for investigators and searching it are 2 different things.
Right.
You can't argue with good logic, so you have to do good logic with her, or she's going to make her argument broad or narrow to try and escape the rational logic.
Yeah, I know someone exactly like Laura Owens. I grew up in a house like this, and I think that's why it irritates me so much to watch her, and also just to not be able to fight this good fight in person, because that's what I'm so used to. But you watch people like this and you learn exactly what you said. You have to make sure that your argument is stuck with I said what I said, because they're snakes. They deflect, or they're like those little ducks that you shoot at carnivals. Like the moment you hit them, they ping and they go the other way. And like
Yeah.
you have to be one step ahead of them, because their brains are always moving and they see a small hole and they can slide right through it. And then you're
Yeah.
deflected to somebody else, and you have to keep them, which is why I love Deandra so much. She kept her at the same place in the same lane, and it was like, these are yes or no questions. Yes
It's
or no.
Yeah, it's very hard, and you could see Laura kind of taking advantage of it with the whole Ravgen thing, right?
Mhm.
Because Clayton says, "The test results came back early, little to no field DNA." And she says, "The testing's ongoing." And this is a very common thing. This is the other thing that Laura does. There's this, contradiction she creates. Okay, Clayton says the test is done. She says the testing's ongoing. So, is it done or is it not done? Is it A or is it not A?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm hearing A and not A, and that's a contradiction, a logical contradiction. And when she creates this potential for logical contradiction in your brain, you feel the what do they call it? Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is real? Like, and you have to get to the details, right? Because the problem with the HCG or the Ravgen thing was they did multiple tests in a process
Mhm.
of paternity determination. Clayton was correct that one test was done. Laura was technically correct that the process was not done, but she called it the testing to confuse Clayton's correct statement and
Right.
create a contradiction which will fill your mind with cognitive dissonance.
Mhm.
And to me, this is effectively gaslighting, right? Because you're trying to make someone think they're crazy. Clayton's says, "We didn't have intercourse. How can you can't be pregnant? You can't be pregnant." She says, "I have a positive pregnancy test." The test is
Right.
called pregnancy test on the box.
They have a
So,
great way of telling you
mhm,
how to remember experiences that you've had. Which is funny because, again, growing up in an environment like that, nothing will piss me off more than somebody telling me how I feel.
yeah,
Don't ever tell me how I feel in a situation, because they'll do that. Well, you don't remember it correctly because that's not exactly how it happened. Or when you get them, they're like, well, I may or may not have a part to play in this, or I may or may not have
mhm,
done this, but, and it's
mhm.
like, I was there. I was there. I was wide awake. I was there.
Yeah, oh my gosh, and I think, what is so Laura will get you into these situations. So Clayton says, "Okay, she's pregnant, but she can't be pregnant." So now so his brain is literally trying
Yeah.
to deal with this, inconsistency, this contradiction, this logical contradiction that she instilled within him. It wasn't like she just said, "I didn't go to Culver's for lunch yesterday," and she's lying. She's literally trying to make him question reality. And what is her tell? She doesn't say, I emailed Clayton and said XYZ. She'll say, Clayton knows or Clayton knew, right? She's making statements about him.
Right.
She's not giving personal testimony about herself. She's doing exactly what you are describing, trying to tell other people how Clayton thinks or what
Mhm.
Clayton knows,
Yeah.
as if she's a mind reader or something, right?
Right. Well, she's trying to prove him as a liar is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, the
Because she can't
credibility
come
and,
out on top unless
mhm,
you're much lower than she is.
mhm, or use him to bolster her argument in
Right.
front of someone else. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's the thing, it's funny because it's like, a lot of people, I guess, got on his back when he, came out and he was like the little to no fetal DNA on, on Instagram, and they were mad about that, and I'm like, I I just look at who I am as a person, and I'm like, "I would have torn this bitch to shreds." Like, the fact that that's all he came out and said was that the test that's what the testing was? Like,
Yeah. Well,
why is that a
well,
big deal?
he was very excited. It was Friday. He said, "Who's got the good news? I got the good news." I mean, he explains this, right? He's like, "I need to come out really, uh, strong so people don't think, you know, that I'm waiting for something or I'm holding anything back," right? He just wants to put all the cards on the table. But, I can understand if you just watch that reel without the context of understanding the case, you'd be like, "What's wrong with this guy?" And sort of understand that, but
It's like,
that's
why is
why
he so happy over dead babies?
I
Like,
know. That's why context is always so important, and I think a
right.
lot of people will, create conclusions before they have all the context.
Do you in this whole case, like, do you think that there's a specific victim or story that deserves more attention than it actually got?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. Listen, you are my first, like,
Yeah.
OG from the beginning, like, day 1.
Deserves more attention. I mean,
Well, I mean,
I
they're
don't I
all
don't
on the same, but I guess is there anybody that you feel like has been left behind or, like, a more important piece that people should pay attention to?
well, here's the thing. So, I think, the podcast is doing a great job of telling the Clayton story.
Mhm.
They could do an equivalent 12-episode deep dive on Greg Gillespie, Mike Maricini,
Absolutely.
and even Dave Neal. And I think maybe Dave Neal was there from the start. He had a civil harassment restraining order filed against him. This lawyer threatened to make him homeless. Um, I think the story from Dave's perspective to me is very interesting. So there's that.
Yeah,
He's talked about writing like a almost like a stand-up show explaining the whole thing
a one-man show.
like a one-man show PowerPoint kinda deal
Mhm.
or TEDx, dare I say, type of presentation.
Yeah.
That would be interesting, I think, for sure. There's I think one problem is there's a lot we would like to know more about, but
Like what?
there are people that probably don't want to rehash the trauma, like, there's other people with testimony about interactions with Laura, right?
Are you talking about what are you talking about?
Well, so remember when I said there's, 4 men who will say
Oh,
you
sure, sure, sure.
so there's a 4th man.
Right.
There's
That wants
there's
nothing to do with this. He's
there's
like
the Yeah, there's the
yeah,
podcast studio, there's the building contractor, there's this what is it, David Katz, there's, Uncle Joe Cotchett, like, there's a lot of there's people who had their, the sonogram stolen and all this jazz. The sister, there's
mhm.
probably people we would like to learn a lot more from that it's just, there are probably people that don't want to
I wouldn't want to.
deal
If
with any
there's
of
a lot of
this.
people talk about Sarah and, I saw somebody in the chat yesterday and it's like, "She hasn't come forward and that's all I need to know," and I'm like, "Listen,
Yeah,
if this is my sister." And also too, she's a private citizen, right? Like, she's not online, she's not on social media, she's
right.
not doing any of that.
Mhm.
If my sister was doing some dumb stuff and her name was all over the media, I'm not saying nothing. Like, you're
Mhm.
not gonna get me to say one word, and especially too, I mean, you have to look at it from Sarah's point of view, right? Her sister
Mhm.
is getting ate up right now on the internet. You think
Mhm.
they're not gonna do the same thing to her? And then she's in a place where,
Yeah.
she's still in good standing with her parents. She can't come out and say anything against Laura. I think in her position, she's doing the best thing that she can, and that is just stay off the internet, stay very quiet, and
Mhm.
just keep me and my family out of it.
Yeah, it's very hard. I will add, the other case I think that is tough is Greg Gillespie's case because of the restraining order that she has on him.
Yeah.
I think he does not feel comfortable. Mike has done interviews. Clayton's obviously done a lot of interviews and is sort of the face of the case. I think Greg hasn't had a chance to tell his story beyond court filings, and I think that's a shame.
Yeah. I I would really like to hear from him. I really would. I gotta
Mhm.
see how long until his DVRO is up?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It was renewed fairly recently, but I don't know how long it lasts.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know. I think he's basically said he doesn't even wanna talk about this case unless, Laura's in jail or prison,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame him.
mhm.
I think about it though, and I think like that's the one thing that people are missing because that this case is so scandalous, right? Like she's done a paternity case with Clayton, and then you find out there's these other men. But
Yeah,
when you start to compound everything on top of it, right? PS Creative and Sean Roanhorse and Hey Rob and Dave and um, God, whoever else she's done this to,
yeah,
you realize like this is a very dangerous pattern of behavior. It's not just a paternity case. It's
yeah.
not just a fake pregnancy. This goes far beyond. There is a wake of people behind her. And that's the thing that like I really hope that if she goes to trial, I
Yeah.
really hope that if they can bring it in that the prosecution focuses on that.
Yeah, that's a good point to your previous question of what do you think people need to know more about? I think a lot of people see things like an Inside Edition video or whatever it is, and they're like, "Okay, there's a couple guys and it's a serial pregnancy faker."
Mhm.
And they just think, "Okay, so she fakes pregnancies. Be careful who you bang," and then they're done thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's not quite that simple.
Right.
There's a lot going on under the hood here. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and yeah, that's the thing. Laura's body count is high, and that's the thing I think I didn't realize, right? Like I started reading this case and I'm like, okay, Clayton, Mike and Greg, whatever. And then you start looking all this other stuff. And I remember I started reading some of Mike's stuff, and then I'm like, well, what is this with Uber?
Yeah.
And then you start to get into it and you're like, what is
Mhm.
like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Or the cancer with the
Right.
"be a better boyfriend" emails, and you're
Oh
like,
my God.
you don't even have to if you just take all the fake pregnancies out, alleged fake pregnancies, and look at everything else, it's still a crazy case.
Right. Right. There's still just so much going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of meat and potatoes. This is great. Yes. So many meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
There was something we didn't talk about. What was it? So one thing, you talk about how the community comes together and everything.
mhm.
Um, it was interesting. I have a video on my channel about the Lisa Chen. Do you know about that?
No, please go now. I'll
'Cause
mute my microphone.
I don't think the podcast got into that too much, but basically they got into how Dave Neal was, she sued him with the civil harassment restraining order and then dismissed it. But the dismissal, of course, was predicated on Dave should not incite violence. So, of course, the next day, a Facebook account called Stella Chen makes a bunch of violent comments on Ron Owens' Facebook about Laura and the mom.
Is this
Okay.
still active?
The Facebook account?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still there.
I'm gonna look up Stella
The
Chen right now.
No, no, they changed their name to Lisa Chen.
Oh, Lisa Chen.
Yeah.
Got it.
I don't know why, but anyway, so and the crazy thing is, this account, this Stella Chen, Lisa Chen Facebook account had been DMing Dave and myself before any of this, this case was dismissed, okay? And with really weird stuff, and of course, I never replied to any of it. I think Dave may have replied, but he was just like, "Who are you? Like, what is happening here?" Yeah,
Why are you
he
messaging me?
she eventually sent him some unhinged messages, and he blocked the account, but then later that account went and made these violent comments on
Mm.
the Ron Owens page, right? And, the what we found out was, okay, here's this Facebook account. It's the you can tell because the profile picture's in there. So we figured out it's the same person who's messaging me and Dave. So we figured it out. And we go and look and we say, these photos on this Facebook page come from this Instagram account from someone named Robin Chang. Not Chen, but Chang. And it's Robin, not Stella or Lisa. And I think a few people reached out either to her or her brother and said, "Hey, do you know this Facebook account is like ganking your stuff or something?" And they were like, "Oh, geez, what the heck is this? This is crazy." And I think this Robin Chang had looked at the case or was looking at the case or was in the Dave Neal fan community from the show, The Bachelor, Bachelorette. And so she went on Omar's show and Omar was talking to her like, "What's it like having your stuff ripped off in this
Lisa
case?"
Chen?
No, Robin Chang. So Robin Chang goes on
So
Omar's
Robin
show,
Chen is a real person.
presumably. Yeah. Now, when
So
she
we
went
think
on
she's also Robin Chang?
no, so Robin Chang, I mean, if you go watch the Omar video, her voice doesn't sound like Laura, but her video's all really weird. Like she's using weird, MySpace, GeoCities, uh, filters or webcams from 1998 or something. I mean, I don't know.
Do you
So,
see her face?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
and I mean, Omar talked to her on the phone and everything. I don't think Robin Chang is I think she's a real person, and I think her stuff was ripped off by whoever operates the Stella Chen, Lisa Chen Facebook account. Now we can't do the two-factor authentication thing on the Facebook account because it's not a YouTube channel, so it's not through Gmail, right?
I'm gonna write this down because we're gonna watch this.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I have a video about it, and then Omar has a video. It's a longer video with a bunch of topics, but one of the topics is talking to her. And she
Okay.
basically comes on to tell her sort of life story, which was very weird. But I mean, that's yeah. So there's an interesting character there for the case. Talk about weird. But anyway, because I had done this video about the Lisa Chen situation and I understood it because she had messaged me. And she was trying to get on Omar's show. Omar calls me and is like, "Let's exchange notes." So this is how I became friends with Omar is the point.
Oh my god.
Yeah, very
That's crazy.
fun.
Who's Mary Lankins?
Now, these Ron Owens posts, right, that are resharing Laura's Medium articles are up on Facebook because Ron has a big Facebook following of all his old KGO friends, right?
Yeah.
So, there's one of these posts where he's saying, "Oh, Laura's so brave to deal with the cyberbullying or whatever." But
How much of Ron's posts or anything, or even these, obviously Lisa Chang and all these things and like her essentially lolcowing herself so that she could use that in a court of law, like these people are on
oh,
top.
yeah.
But
I'm
how much
yeah,
do you think,
false flag, right?
Ron is Laura?
How much do I think Ron is Laura? What?
Like,
The
how
Ron Facebook page?
right, like, posting that Ron
Oh,
like, how much of that do you think is Laura and not Ron?
no, so the Ron Facebook page is sort of like he'll post something like major news happens, like, "Oh, we have a new president," or "A celebrity died," and he said he's sort of doing this pop culture posts. Clearly, his wife or Laura are putting these posts up, I would think, or he's telling them what he wants to post about and they do it for him or something. I mean, who cares?
Okay.
I don't care. The point is, Laura was writing all these wacky Medium blogs, and then so the Ron Owens account reposts it and says, "Oh, my daughter's so brave for dealing with cyber harassment and all this jazz." And then, of course, people will go in and say, "Well, she's faked the pregnancy. Go look at the court documents." And those comments all get deleted, right? So this character, Mary Lankins, appears in the comments of one of these posts and is sort of like, Ron, do you know my friend Irene? I think you worked together at KGO back in 1991. Why are you deleting posts? And she's typing in all caps and she's, and then Kurt comes in and Kurt's like, Mary, I got to tell you about this Laura Owens. I'll send you a email text on the AOL, and it's like a bunch of boomers are all like talking to each other and discovering the case, the Owens v. Eckerd paternity case in real time in Facebook. So I go and I look at the Mary Lincoln's Facebook page, and she's like, "My grandson Christopher is going to come up and hook up the TV to the internet, and he's going to tell me about the Laura Owens." And so I just read through all this and try to figure out what I can learn from it. But it's pretty entertaining.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I
So Mary's fun.
I just got a screenshot of Lisa Chen's Facebook account.
Yeah.
I don't have
mean,
Facebook, but here's one of the posts.
Oh, yeah. Is what it is. Yeah, I
So
mean, there's
this post
yeah,
is this Stella Chen, guys, this is the crazy cunt.
yeah,
I'll need to go out and shoot, and then
yeah,
puts
yeah.
all
It's
of the
it's very
information for
it's
Jan Black.
it's very inappropriate. And I think they got the address wrong, or they they put the wrong address in or something. So it's how big of a threat is it if somebody's threatening you with the wrong address?
Well, I mean, well, also too, right? Like, if this is Laura,
Mhm.
does she not realize that all of this can be traced back to her?
I don't know.
I
It
just
it do it doesn't seem, advisable, but the timing is very sus, right? Like, you
right.
immediately dismiss your case against Dave Neal, and the very next day, somebody is making threats on your dad's Facebook page. It's a little too on the nose.
Right. Yeah, I wonder about all the things, and I know that Mike said that he talked to Ron Owens in person, and I know that, obviously he talked to Jan in person, but I just wonder how many text messages, how many of the Facebook messages, um, how many of the emails, how how many of it is Laura?
Yeah. I mean, we don't know, but I would not be surprised if some of the things that the parents allegedly texted to some of these guys was Laura texting it herself.
Right, like the one from Ron to Mike, I've always wanted to have a son or a son-in-law or something like
Yeah.
that, and, I really like you, take care
Yeah.
of Laura, like
Because if you recall the police body cam search warrant footage, Ron comes in and says, "Did you call David Gingras?"
mhm.
And Laura doesn't tell them that she already talked to him, but she says, "No, they took my phone." And you can hear Ron say, "Well, here's a phone." And he just hands her a phone. So if they're, if they're doing that, maybe she's, using the parents' devices to send messages. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Jan has a little bit more insight to what's going on than Ron, for
Mhm.
sure. A lot of people are saying that she's doing it for Laura, and I don't know if I believe that much, because I think that the way you listen to Jan talk in the interviews and the way that you read Laura's emails, I do think that these are two separate things. But I also think that they might get together and talk about what's going on, or and Jan gasses her up for sure. I think Jan has a part to play as an enabler, as somebody who, um,
Mhm.
just gives Laura the confidence that she's doing the right thing, and just
Yeah.
regurgitates everything that she says.
I think it's very complex because if you read the investigation report that we have, right, there's one interview where Jan and Laura are both there. And then there's another interview where it's just Jan. And in general, when you're talking about crime, right, you say, we're going to take the two people and split them up so they can't get their story straight
Right.
and hope that they, give up the inconsistencies. I feel like in this case, it's reverse. If you put them together, they just like they're both like, "Well, the lawyer said not to talk to you," and then they sit there and talk to the officer for half an hour, and the mom is like, "XYZ," and Laura's like, "Well, my mom doesn't know everything about
Right.
XYZ."
You see
Like,
them
they're
kind of fumble over each
they're
other.
worse together than apart, so I feel like there's a lot of compartmentalization or psychological dynamics going on that, is way above my pay grade.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I mean, in my opinion, right, like, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but I definitely think there's some codependency issues there. I
Mhm.
think they feed off each other. I think they enjoy this behavior, especially too when you watch it in real time and you're watching the body cam footage and there is no anger from Jan or Ron when the police are at their house at 6:30 in the morning. And I
Yeah.
love my children to death, but I would be pissed off if there are police in my house. And the fact that Laura is screaming like a banshee and her mom is just like, "You're right. This is just too much." I
Yeah.
would be like, "Shut the oh my god, shut up."
And, Ron's biggest complaint was like, "Why do you have to wear all the SWAT gear? Why do you have to come so early in the morning?" Like, his big complaint isn't, "Why are you investigating my daughter?" He's like,
Right,
"Why are you doing it the way you're doing it?"
right. That oh my god, that is such a good point.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, it's yeah, there's never anybody like, "Wait a second," and that's the thing, right? Like, he didn't seem shocked when he was in the bed and the police officer was like, "All right, yeah, we're here because we're investigating Laura on, counts of" what did he say? Like, fraud or perjury or
Yeah.
whatever, and
Mhm.
Ron you can just hear Ronnie goes, "Oh, geez." "Oh, geez," is
Yeah.
like not
Well
a big deal, because yeah, you think he would jump out of the bed and be like, "What?"
mhm. Yeah, I mean, he says, "Oh, this'll push her over the edge." And you're like,
But
"Wait, what?"
don't tell her I said that.
Yeah.
But she's willing to kill herself, but also I'm not gonna get her any help even so do you believe that she's capable of doing it or not? Because now would be the perfect time to tell the police, like, "I feel like she's in an unsafe space. I need help."
Well, they don't seem to pay any heed to these, wellness checks, right? They think it's harassment rather than, well, what is the root cause of these wellness checks? Well, it's the things your daughter is putting online.
Right.
And it's just sort of this, if I tell you a story, I feel like I should be able to convince you. It's an anti-science sort of mentality, right? Like, I'm gonna invent reality. And if you just give me a chance to tell you about it, like, meet me without Laura present, I'll tell you about Hoboken.
Hoboken.
Everything should go I should everybody should just believe me. That's not how a convincing argument works.
Well, and I just look at it too from a mother's perspective. She has claimed to the police that her daughter has been assaulted in Hoboken. Her daughter has been assaulted by Greg. Her daughter has been assaulted by Mike. Her daughter has been assaulted by Clayton. And as a mother, you have done nothing to step in to help your daughter, to protect your daughter, to guide her. She has no problem with litigation. She
Yeah.
has no problem
Well,
with calling 911.
litigation is the help. That's it.
I don't know as a mother. And then because one of two things is true, right? You believe these stories and you're doing nothing about it as a parent, or you don't necessarily believe these stories, but you're willing to regurgitate these facts for your daughter.
Yeah, it's a little ironic that wasn't Jan an investigative journalist or something like that? Why doesn't she, investigate who Chase J. Jones is or Lisa Chen or, this
Or Andrew
Hoboken
from
case?
Hoboken, the kid that
Yeah.
almost, killed your daughter and left her on the dark web. How
Where
about
is
that?
her
Where's
yeah,
that video?
where's the exposé? Where's the Pulitzer Prize for that, right? Like, like, we need help investigating these things. Jan, you wanna help? No? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand, and I think that's the thing that's so hard, or I guess so riveting about this case is there's so many aspects that I
Yeah.
just that don't make sense to a logical brain.
Yeah.
When she came after content creators and you started to do content creation, um, did they ever, besides these stupid ass blogs, did they ever come after you?
Um, oh, that's a good question. So I did get these Stella Chen, Lisa Chen DMs that I talk about in my video. Um,
We'll watch that too.
I've never received like any I've always said if I ever open up my Gmail and there's something from Laura Owens or David Gingras in it, I'm just gonna go live and delete it and then log out and then end the live stream. Cause like I don't want to talk to these people. I don't,
Yeah,
I don't need, any of that. I think she stopped doing cease and desist when she realized that the community has communicated it enough to understand that cease and desists are kinda like they're not very meaningful.
yeah.
So I think they've stopped doing them.
Well, that's I mean, that's the thing. If you have a problem with what take me to court. Take me to court and prove me wrong then. You
Yeah.
know, and, but did that, with the fact that she was so litigious with everything, did it make you leery at all?
Oh, yeah. I think everybody that, um, talks about this is one of these things, right? Like, I'm of the opinion you gotta go fully anonymous or you have to just be fully public, and
Mhm.
I'm sitting on the side of, like, I don't care, I'll tell you my name, my address, my phone number, whatever you want. I
Yeah.
don't care. Come get me. I'm in Wisconsin,
I eat
you know,
cheese.
the high schoolers in the neighborhood know who I am, and they're watching out for me. So it's all good. Or you go super anonymous and you don't tell anybody who you are, like that
Yeah.
umbrella guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just you do a thing like that. And, I think it's tough because Laura or Jan or whoever they could be anybody behind any username. So if you don't have a verified person, like Chase J. Jones wouldn't get on the phone Zoom call with Dave's lawyer. That's very
Mhm.
sus, right?
Yeah.
Because that's just Dave's lawyer, like, you're not exposing yourself publicly.
Yeah.
Um, I think there is a lot of fear, especially in the early days, right? Because she would say, "I've got all this money." Ron Owens, "Oh, he's famous. He must be rich." And, I'll do whatever it takes to, get my pound of flesh. And now that we've been through the paternity case and the criminal cases started, and we've seen these bankruptcies, I think it's taken a lot of wind out of the sails of being afraid. But in the early days, it was very tough. I'm sure she's definitely has like fake, I don't know what you want to call them, like troll accounts. Like
Yeah.
she'll make accounts. Like we know, like Chase J. Jones and Tag both have YouTube accounts. We know which ones they are. I
Mhm.
remember seeing a rude comment on a Megan Fox video. And I think because I have a mod wrench there, I can see they never made any other comments on the channel. And the account was created on January 29th, which is the day they took all her devices away. So I'm sure she just went to the AT&T store and made a new account, right?
Right.
Like, this is
Right.
clearly her. Like, who are you fooling? Like, it's just bad. It's consistent with the, like, oh, the day after Dave's case is dismissed, something happens. Oh, the day of the search warrant being executed, there's a new account talking shit to Megan Fox.
Yeah.
Come on, it's too on the nose.
I don't do you think she took the plea deal?
Um, I don't know. I think she should take a plea deal,
Well,
but I
yeah.
don't
But knowing what you know about her
it's
and
hard.
there's
Yeah.
silence right now, do you think she took it?
It's hard without knowing what the details of the plea are. I think if you told her, "Hey, if you admit to, like, this forgery thing, or maybe, like, a low count of, perjury because you said the Dr. Higley thing," if it was something that was not foundational to her worldview that she had to admit to, I think
The
she would take
pregnancy.
that deal. Like, "Okay, yeah, I was protecting myself from Dave Neal, so I guess I committed a crime. What do you want?"
Yeah.
If you say, hey, you have to admit that you committed fraudulent schemes and artifices on Clayton and or Greg, and you have to go admit it. I don't think she can do that. I don't think her mindset, worldview will allow her to do that kind of thing.
Well, and you just look at it from every thing that's happened up from now in the timeline, right? She has been given out after out after out after out, and she has taken none of them. And I just wonder if she has gotten to
Um,
a point that, obviously she's still talking to Gingras. She has a new lawyer. She has her parents. I mean, is there a point where they can have an intervention with her and be like, listen, it's up. You're done. Just take the plea deal, do what you need to do, and be done with it.
maybe I don't know. Again, that gets to these family dynamics that I just don't know enough about, and I'm not qualified to analyze properly.
Yeah.
I guess it could be possible. I just feel like, I mean, there are a couple off ramps she's taken, right? She dismissed this case against Dave Neal. She never showed to the Mike DVRO renewal.
Well, I
Um,
think with some of these things though, right? Like she feels like she doesn't have to. Like she's like, "Well, if I just don't show up, it's fine because she's always gotten her way."
yeah.
So I just wonder if she still thinks that she could get through this unscathed.
Yeah, I don't gosh, I don't know. I mean, it's 14 charges. That's a lot
I don't think that
to
matter
go
I
through in the court
I
system.
honestly, in the grand scheme of things, I think that is the last thing that matters to her. I think the number one thing that matters to her is that there's a bunch of us sitting on the internet talking about her, talking about this case, and she has this innate need to tell people, "I'm not a liar," and she
Mhm,
wants to defend herself, and I think
mhm.
telling her story and defending herself is more important than the 14 felony counts. That's fixable. I can fix that, whatever, but I need a chance to tell my story.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I've heard cases, criminal psychologists and stuff, and they say there's people that are in prison because they won't get parole because they won't do therapy or something
Mhm.
like they won't admit what they did. So they'd rather sit in jail or prison. And it may be a psychological barrier like that that takes her to trial.
Yeah, I think too, a lot of people in the chat are talking about Mike's DVRO. I mean, look at that now. You
Mhm.
have well, and I just look at from the counts, right? You have 14 felony counts. For most of us, we'd be like, "Shit, we're gonna be in trouble." But for
It's
her,
big trouble.
she's like, I'm gonna go after Dave Neal. I'm gonna go after Hey Rob. I'm her focus was people on the internet.
Mhm.
And then with Mike, who doesn't even have anything to do with this criminal case, she's spending her time there.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like,
I think it's all about maintaining the consistency of this veneer or this facade, right? Of this,
yeah.
like, LinkedIn profile that says she's the co-owner of something. Like, she told the Fed, attorney that she would change it. She hasn't changed it. I think, it's not about substance, right? She says, "I was marketing myself as an entrepreneur." If I was talking about my LinkedIn, I would say my LinkedIn has my job history. It has my educational background. It has my accomplishments. Laura doesn't talk about herself in terms of accomplishments. She talks about it in terms of I was trying to market myself as an entrepreneur. This facade,
Mhm.
it's all just, she wants the quick riches with the Clayton real estate deals.
Mhm.
It's not substantial achievement. And I think admitting all this wrongdoing is just gonna tear apart this facade. And the reason she is attacking people talking about the case is because that's how you control it's sort of like a PR play more than she's not she's more interested in PR than criminal defense.
And that's what I think it's about, right? I think it's about the way that she looks, and I think she wants to get on the world stage and tell everybody how she's been victimized in this
Mhm.
whole thing.
Yeah, there's this interesting if you go from the Mike case all the way to the present and look at all of her writing, it's very, she's either a hero or she's a victim,
Right.
right? They're either doing amazing real estate deals and they're gonna conquer the world and go to Iceland and all this jazz and do a podcast, or she's completely victimized by someone or something. There's nothing there's never any, like, you know, "I'm just gonna go to Culver's and relax." Like, it's just it's this bipolar chaos agent.
Right.
And I don't mean psychologically bipolar, I just mean
No,
these
it's
2
just an up and down,
extremes of
up and
these
down.
2
Right.
these 2 extremes of how she imagines herself. She's either a superhero or a super victim, and
Right.
nothing in between almost. It's very strange.
Well, and she's very quick on how she can change it and how she can use it. And
Yeah.
also she's an incredible reader of I and that's when I was having my brother-in-law on the stream. She's an incredible reader and you had joined in on that chat as well, and we were talking about the fact that
Mhm.
she has this ability to take one small piece from a text message or an email, and that's what she holds on to, and then she starts building off of that.
Yeah.
Clayton gave her one piece about how, he feels anxiety or he feels stress over this, and then it becomes this long thing about how I can help you because I also feel these same things. And she just has a way of understanding people and how to really just like sink her hooks into them. She's found 3 men that it hasn't worked with, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's obviously worked before because
Mhm.
this has to be a trial and error, right? Like we only have the 3 errors. We don't have who she's done this to that it may have worked out and maybe it fizzled out, so she let them go.
Yeah, and you can see it with, like, these tag emails from one of the podcast, episode adders. The tag email to Megan Fox was very different from the tag email to Lauren Knighty
Okay.
because
I need to see these emails.
she's looking for the chink in the armor, right? Like, she's trying to figure out what is going to get the response she wants. So it's
Right.
like you said, she finds a cornerstone to build off, like, okay, Clayton never delivered the offers, so she builds her whole house of cards on top of that. Or, with Dave, right? She sends him emails talking about her dad and her mom and, like, their resumes because she wants to get a response from him because she's saying, "They have real credentials and you don't because 'cause you're just a YouTube
Right.
Yahoo," or whatever, whatever she's trying to do to get him to trigger or, sending me weird messages from Stella Chen if that's what she did. I don't know. Like, she tries to find these chinks in the armor and then goes after them, right?
Right. I just I wonder, like, the end game obviously is to ruin these men's lives. They've said no. They don't want anything to do with her. She is far more important than that, and you need to be punished, for doing so. Um, and I just look at all of this now and with the criminal trial, and I wonder if it's the same as these men, right? The law system has told you no. And I wonder if she's like, "Well, you can't do that to me. You can't
Mhm.
you can't stop me." I she thinks because when you listen to the way that she talks to these men, it's very, and Clayton said that in the interview. You'll wake up when you see how great I am. I can do all these things for you. How important I am, how hardworking I am, how just amazing I am as a person. And I think she may really think that if she can just
Yeah.
prove to these
Mhm.
people how amazing she is, you're
Yeah.
not going to stop her.
It's just like the Jan interview, right? Like, "Once I explain to you investigators the Hoboken deal, you'll understand." And we're all like, "No, we don't."
Right.
It's the same pattern of, if I can just explain it to you, you will come around.
Right.
And if I have to, uh, extort you into coming around, the means will justify the ends, right?
Well, and it's funny because somebody in the chat said, I've never seen anything that Jan has done. And when you listen to the one wellness check, when they go there and Jan's like, oh, we had this super successful podcast and whatever. And it's like, you had how many episodes and you made no money? Like, I mean, they said that they made $83,000. I don't know if we know that, but still, it's like, it's not, I guess, what's super successful? You had a couple people listen to it. I'm super successful then. Super successful.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, they don't have a, science or evidence-based mindset. They're just like, "Let me tell you, and you better believe me, and if you don't, something bad will happen to you," right?
Yeah. Do
Threatening
you
Greg with lawsuits, threatening Clayton, the extortion, like, "Drop the paternity case or I'll sue you for
the
the things you
calling
do."
911 when Clayton and Mike and Greg got together, and
Yeah.
she called 911 because they were hanging out on the other side of the earth from where you were. I don't know, maybe they were in the same state, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they were there in
Their DVROs
Scottsdale.
aren't on each other.
Yeah.
They're allowed to hang out with each other.
Yeah, they made an Instagram reel and didn't mention her name. Send
Right,
them straight to jail.
right.
Like, what?
But not this guy who attacked me in Hoboken. Hoboken.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know more about that. I don't know. I was very excited when the FBI did one of the wellness checks because 'cause I'm like, "Is the FBI looking at any of this case? Because I think there's things to look at here."
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. And it's
They should.
unfortunate, right? Because you know that obviously you can see in the body cam footage that Ron is dealing with something. But you don't know now to what extent, how bad it is, because everything that they say seems to be a lie. And it's like, what really is going on? I mean,
Yeah.
does he need help? Does he not need help? Is he okay? Is he, whatever? And it's just so weird with all of it. I just, I
Yeah,
don't.
they have not done a lot to engender trust. That goes back to my point, right? Like, you can lose trust very easily, and it's very hard to regain that trust or to build trust. So, you shouldn't just lose it. You should try to keep it.
I forgot who asked me. I think it might have been Omar. And you seem a lot more level headed than myself. Um,
What?
and a lot
Wait,
more.
I listened to a video where you said you were, what was it? INTP? Because I think that's what I am.
What's that?
The personality thing, introverted and thinking and
I said
INT.
that?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Anyway, yeah. Mhm.
I don't know what I am.
It's an
Uh,
old video. I don't know what I say, and I watched some of my old videos, and I'm like, "Wow, did I say that? Okay, I guess I did. It's funny."
well, I have to know you've been here from the beginning and
Mhm.
you've watched this case unfold and you've watched it evolve. You seem insanely kind and level headed, which I am not because I'm like, burner at the stake.
Yeah.
Is there anything that she could do to redeem herself to you?
Um, I I'm very much like, I like this case because I wanna see what I can learn, and I wanna believe as many true things as possible and disbelieve as many false things as possible in general, while improving well-being, you know? And so for me, it's like, what does that mean? Oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, I feel like she failed to bring sufficient evidence of pregnancy, paternity, and miscarriage to court. And I feel like that's like, a lot of people will say she's a lying liar who lies and she was faking the pregnancy, and they'll make all these declaratives. I don't even care about making those declaratives. I'm just looking at, what do I know for sure? I know she failed to
So you're
bring.
looking at it from a juror perspective, right? The evidence brought forth.
Well, I'm not a juror. No, just in terms of knowledge. Just I like, it would be nice to get on the same page with her that because the box says pregnancy test, HCG is an indicator of pregnancy, not proof of pregnancy. She's never addressed this in any Medium blog, court filing, or anywhere else ever. The only thing that comes close to addressing this issue is Dr. Medchill and his weird testimony about, well, I looked at these files and I just believe her. And I would like to ask Dr. Medchill, how did you rule out fraud?
Well, and that's the
And
thing, right?
he
How can
hasn't
you make
answered that
an honest
question.
assessment when you don't have the accurate documents?
Well, no, I mean, he had as many accurate documents as he could get. Like, let's just say he's got blood HCG level, P sticks that are positive. He's got Laura's personal testimony. That's his evidence. And he's like, yeah, sure, she was pregnant. And I'm like, how can you come to that conclusion, sir? That's not sufficient
Do you watch a lot
evidence.
of, do you watch a lot of trials?
Sometimes.
An expert has to go through a process to be considered an expert.
Okay.
And the fact that it was HCG and her personal testimony, like,
Mhm.
there just as a doctor, there has to be more factors than that.
Well, I just found MedChill confusing because he gets to a point in the June 10th hearing where he said where I think it was Woodnick asks him, "Do you disagree with Dr. Dean's report?" And he said, "I don't disagree with Dr. Dean's report. I just think it's interesting that she's relying on a clinical proof of pregnancy criteria." And then when you ask him why he doesn't worry about clinical proof of pregnancy, he says, well, women who never receive care come into the hospital and leave with a baby. And of course, the answer is there's no babies in this case. There's no corpses in this case. There's none of that here, sir.
Pick me!
And
Pick
yeah,
me! Listen, that would only be an argument if she was not trying to prove that she had a clinical pregnancy
yeah,
through all these telehealth appointments. If she came into this and she said, "Listen, I think I might be pregnant. I have this, whatever that disorder is that you think you're pregnant, whatever."
yeah,
Okay.
mhm,
Laura Owens thought that she was pregnant. Fine.
yeah,
But that's not what they were arguing. They were arguing that she was clinically pregnant, which was wild because when you watch the hearing, they talk about all the evidence. They talk about the sonogram. They talk about her getting a sonogram, which would have proved that she was pregnant if she got a true sonogram with her name on it, right? From Planned Parenthood. And they
sure,
were arguing a clinical pregnancy. And then he comes in and he's like, well, I mean, it's not a clinical pregnancy, or you don't have to argue that. That's what she's arguing. You're
yeah.
her expert because that's what
Well,
she's arguing.
maybe. I don't know if Laura or Gingras ever said, we believe Laura had clinical pregnancy proof. I think they just said she was pregnant.
But they brought up the sonogram and he said, "Is this your sonogram?" Yes.
Mhm,
Did you alter the top? Yes. And they
mhm.
couldn't get the original sonogram. So by bringing in the sonogram from Planned Parenthood would innately argue a clinical pregnancy.
Well, I don't
It
think
was
they ever
seen by
oh,
a clinician.
so the backstory on that, I don't think Laura ever wanted a sonogram in the court record, ever, because I think her whole plan was, "Oh, I can be a jackass and give fake shit to Reality Steve and Dave. I just never gave it to the court." Like, that's her favorite sort of
Yeah.
fallback, right? The problem was a lawyer had shown Clayton this ghost sonogram or whatever, and somehow I think that lawyer may have put it into an exhibit or something. So I think it got in there maybe without Laura fully understanding the implications or like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think she wanted it in there. Like, if you're saying that Gingras was like, "Here's your sonogram, you only changed a few bits." Like, I don't think he wanted that there at all.
Well, no, sure. But then the argument would have been, "Is this your sonogram?" She says no.
Mhm.
You're going down for perjury anyways, right?
Yeah.
But they're still trying to argue that she was seen by doctors that she had a pregnancy. She was still
Yeah.
dying on that hill
That's a
saying,
good point.
"This is my
LA.
sonogram, but I changed the top because I was afraid of Clayton." All
Yeah.
she had to say was like, "Yeah, listen, Dave Neal wouldn't shut the fuck up, so I had to send him a sonogram, and I
Yeah.
lied about it." Because if
Well,
she didn't bring that evidence forth,
I
then that's one thing, but
yeah,
she lied about it on the stand admitting that it was hers.
I think she had to do that because it was already into the court record. So she was on a path she couldn't get off. I'm saying if she hadn't been put on that path, she wouldn't have gotten onto it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you 1000%. I think she had to
Yeah.
work with what she had, but Gingras as her lawyer, which is what pisses me off the most about him because he's just like, I did my job. This was before my time. Part of being a lawyer is to protect your client and their best
Yeah.
interest. And you did none of that. And you still walked her into the fact that you were like, "Is this your sonogram?" All he had to say was, "This was not presented from us." He didn't even have to ask her that question.
Mhm.
He coulda just let Deandra do it and let it go.
Yeah, it was a wild ride.
She pisses me off, Bruce.
I know.
God bless America.
But what could she I mean, I think, I know a lot of people, they're like they're gonna be upset if there's a sort of weak plea deal. They're gonna be upset if she goes to trial and there's a mistrial or something, I don't know. Um, the way I kinda look at it is we've learned that she has no, assets. She has no equity, right? She has no job, no income other than whatever her parents give her. And she's what, 35, 36,
Mhm.
and no home. They're about to get evicted from this place in Arizona because of the bankruptcy. Um, I think she's already sort of in this horrible life prison she's created for herself. And
You and I are gonna
so
disagree so bad on this.
so there's 2 sides to this coin. I understand the other side of the coin. That's the first side of the coin. I'm like, she's already punishing herself by having ruined her life effectively by doing these strange things and not living a sort of productive normal life. The flip side is you need to not have her negatively impact other people at the same
Right,
time, right?
right.
And that's where it's like, okay, what can we do then? Can she be a vexatious litigant? Can she catch these charges and get convicted of something? Like there has to be accountability for that as well. Um, so I sort of look at it, even if these MCAO things get yeeted for some weird reason, she's already sort of in this prison. What can she do for me? I mean, I don't know. I don't need anything. I've always been more concerned with this lawyer in this case. Like most of my videos are about reading his weird tweets. I'd like him to like get some therapy and apologize to people
Yeah,
because she's already cooked.
yeah, I
I
guess
just, I just don't want her to hurt other people. So I agree with you on that.
well, and I don't think she's ever gonna get if she doesn't serve any real consequences, she's never gonna take a good look at her behavior because all of this that's happening to her, and I know somebody like this is why this pisses me off in real time, because when they don't have immediate consequences for these specific actions, her losing the house, her not being able to get a job. You listen to it in the bankruptcy court when she's like, "You guys are just trying to embarrass me." It's like, "Bitch, you're the one who brought bankruptcy court because of this." But she looks at it in a way that I had to do this because Clayton and his lawyers did this to me. Judge Matta did this to me. I don't have my house because I had to go through bankruptcy because of all of this other stuff. I can't get a job because Clayton weaponized his platform against me. And it's all, I want to see her get justice for immediate things because, like you said, you have to pin these people down to the ground for them to
Yeah.
really truly understand what they've done.
Yeah. And
And
you'll
I don't think if she gets any consequences that she'll really understand that.
Yeah, that example you gave is good because it illustrates the mental redirection to something subjective or qualitative rather than factual or quantitative. So, like, um, she gets the Planned Parenthood thing. Oh, I thought that was one of my protections. Like, what does
Right.
that even mean? Or, oh, this is the most insane thing that's happening when the police are there at their house. Like, you're just responding. This guy just gave you a factual assessment, and the one about you're just trying to embarrass me. That's just Marcus saying is this money number correct on this line or something
Right.
like
You're
the
the one
guys
who put it in there.
yeah, like the guys just got her pinned on this is a form and you said 0. Is that right? And she's like, "You're trying to embarrass me."
Right. That's like
Because
me
she
getting on this podcast and be like, "You're
yeah,
trying to embarrass me. I'm the one that asked you to come here." Like, you
yeah.
know?
Because she can't come to grips with the reality of those facts, so she redirects to something qualitative or subjective rather than something objective or quantitative. That's what I notice.
Yeah, I just had it up here. Laura's in a prison of her own making.
Mhm.
But the problem with this is Laura is not she doesn't have the self-awareness to understand that it is her actions causing her own consequences. Everybody's against her. Everybody hates her. The police are against her. Judge Matta. Now it's the court system. It's Clayton. It's going to be us. It's everybody else.
Yeah.
Right. I just, ugh. Anyways, tell me what you think. You didn't answer the question. Nobody ever answers this question when I ask them. I
What
need
is
to
the
know.
question?
The
What can
question
she
is,
do to
no, do you think she took the plea deal?
Oh, no.
Are you
Why?
gonna go to trial?
What?
Are you gonna go to the trial?
The thing with the things like the DVRO thing, I was already in town, and the June 10th thing, it was like a day, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, I can go for a day or 2 to something, but,
Mhm.
like, this is 14 counts. Won't this thing end up being 2 to 3 weeks or more? Like,
Well, if oh, yeah. Yeah.
I can't I don't know. I don't think I can, like, sit around for 2 to 3 weeks, you know, dip out of work and
I love that Bruce is
live in
like,
Arizona and
"I got other stuff to do, man."
well, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. For the June 10th hearing, there was, like, 1 or 2 people that were thinking about maybe streaming it, and then some people dipped out, so Lauren gets to the top of the list. Like, we're not talking Law and Crime or TMZ or anyone like, this is Lauren. Like, I'm giving her an audio adapter to do this, right?
Yeah.
So, to me, that was very important because it's like, this is fundamental. It's not getting a lot of coverage, so we have to go cover it. I
Yeah.
think with the criminal case, I could see, Law and Crime streaming it or Court
Oh,
TV
yeah.
or whatever you call it. Maybe Emily D. Baker is watching it. Other people are watching it. Everybody's watching it, and it'll be a high quality stream. So, I mean, what am I gonna do there? Like, I can't, you know
Okay.
when I went to Arizona, like, I'm putting antennas on the tech van, I'm, like, hooking up microphones to the StreamYard.
Right.
At the comedy show, right, I'm like, nobody I gotta drive Dave around and not run into a cactus. I don't know what my job would be at this criminal case, I guess is my point. So why should I
Like, I
go?
had a very clear job at June 10th.
Yeah, like, if I could run a mixing board or something, maybe I would go. Like, I
Yeah.
want I know,
I
I'm a
I kept this comment up here because I just think about the restitution, right? They're gonna make sure that she has some sort of job, some sort of W-2 job to
Mhm.
get the restitution.
Oh,
And
boy.
I think if restitution is part of it, she wouldn't take it. She's not gonna pay these men back. She doesn't in her brain, she doesn't owe them anything.
Dave Neal has often said he thinks the best, sort of therapy for her would be to, like, work in a Starbucks or something and interact with regular humans on a regular basis.
I want her to be a waitress in a Waffle House when those
Oh,
people come in shit-faced at 4 AM and like
oh.
if you've ever
I
been a waiter or a waitress, you understand.
she's not ready for Waffle House bacon, okay? She's not that's a tier she is not ready for.
Listen, we all had to do it. We all had to do it.
She needs to
Trial
work up she needs to work up to Waffle House a little bit.
trial by fire.
Oh, boy.
Trial by fire. Let her go, man. Let her go. Let her work in you know what? You know what else she could do? She could work in retail at Christmas. How about
Yeah.
that?
Oh, man. You're tough. I'm
Right?
like, "Make a latte." Like
No.
I
No.
always thought, I don't know about restitution, but I always thought if she hadn't done whatever she does, like, her career seems to be, like, putting things on LinkedIn and going to Barry's and, going to horse shows, I don't know. But if she had, like, directed her energy at, like, writing romance novels or something, I think
Dude,
she could be like Nora Jones or whoever, like, she could be the next whatever, you know what I mean?
jealous.
I don't know.
Yeah, here we go. Christmas tree shop at Christmas back in the day.
Oh,
Absolute
oh,
carnage.
carnage, yeah, that's
Yeah.
rough. That's
I
rough
want her
times.
to do 24 hours Black Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah, customer oh my god, customer service
yeah.
at Walmart.
You have to work your way up. I think she started, daughter of Ron Owens, she started on third base and is taking credit for all the singles to get there, right?
Right.
Like, when I was in high school, my buddy and I, we got jobs as janitors after high school, for 4 hours and to make some money to buy some
Mhm.
music stuff, right? And we're janitors,
Yep.
whatever it is, washing the windows, cleaning the toilets, vacuuming, taking the trash out, all that stuff, right? And we did all
Mhm.
that. And we did that in the state office building in Madison, Wisconsin. And I went to college, luckily. And, as I got through college, I got a tech internship for the state of Wisconsin, Bureau of Healthcare Financing, working on a data warehouse in the building that I had previously been a janitor at. So, you gotta work it up, you know?
Listen, when I was little, I stayed with my grandparents a lot, and
Yeah,
my uncle is only 3.5 years older than me. And, whatever he did, I had to do. So at, like, 8 years old, I had to get up at 4 in the morning and go help him with his paper route, and they're
yeah,
like, "You need to learn some responsibility," and I'm like, Okay, whatever." No money. No money.
yeah,
Let her go deliver papers at 4 o'clock with no money.
yeah. 'Cause you have a roof over your head, right?
Right. That's
There you
it.
go, and a meal.
Right.
There you go.
But I wanna yeah, no,
I
I
I I
want her
don't
to come
think
down to
I
minimum
don't think,
wage.
I don't think Laura understands any of that.
I can't. I can't. What do you think what do you think the most effective to really change her and who she is and her perspective, right? Like, what do you think the punishment would have to be?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm not qualified to even think about that. I don't I don't know.
You're so logical. I hate it. I
I
hate it.
know,
I'm like, let's just make stuff up.
I'm really knowledge based. I'm like, the charges came out, right? The 7 charges, and we immediately, like Brad and me and Omar, we went to the internet and we're like, what's the minimum sentencing? What's the maximum sentencing? What if there's aggravated circumstances or lenient circumstances? And we're like doing all the math, right? Like, I don't know how to say what she should deserve. If she did something wrong, she should be charged with a crime, right? Like, that's why I'm interested in
Right.
this Chase J. Jones thing. Like, I feel like it's interstate federal mail fraud.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe there's tax fraud because if she was getting income in kind from her parents, but putting zeros on her tax returns for 10 years or 15 years or whatever, that's bad. But the
Yeah.
problem is in the real world, like it's all about you have there's you have to pay for things, right? Like you want to prosecute all the crimes you know about, but you can't because you don't have enough money or time, right? So you
Yeah.
have to prioritize. Everything's about prioritizing. So I don't even know. We can sit here and dream, but I don't know if
Yeah, I
any of
guess
that's
my
gonna
thing is
happen.
like, what do you think would for a person like her, right? Like, what do you think would really
Oh,
change
okay.
her
So let me be real. And to preface this, I'm not a mental health care expert. I'm not a
Sure.
psychologist. I don't know psychiatry. I have tech degrees and I've done management, which involves talking to a lot of people for a lot of time. And I've looked at this case. So I know more about being pregnant with fake twins than most men my age, I would think. I think Laura exhibits cluster B personality disorder and I've heard that treating that is very, very difficult.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at. I think she exhibits cluster B personality disorder traits, and treating that is very, very difficult, and I don't know what it entails, but whatever it would help with that, that's what she needs.
Yeah. Well,
That's what
I don't doubt that therapy is needed in this situation at all. I mean, obviously there is something wrong here that needs to be fixed.
Mhm.
Do you if she takes the plea deal and has some sort of probation, do you see her uh why do you keep laughing at me?
'Cause I'm like, is she gonna break probation?
Right. Do you think she would do something to
Maybe.
you know,
Yeah, it depends on what the conditions of the probation are, but possibly, I mean, she seems to try and skirt all these things, right? Like, if she's faking people and filing court documents, if she's faking people and sending it like, she could break a probation, I would imagine. I don't know.
I think if she takes the plea deal and she goes home, I
Mhm.
don't think that she takes any of this seriously. It's just
Mm.
another thing that she has to get through.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, this is a good point. She would have to want for it to change, and she doesn't think she right, she doesn't think anything's her fault.
I think that's part of why people say it's very difficult to deal with these things.
Mhm.
Um, that's for sure. Yeah. I think it depends on what the conditions of a probation would be. I'm always like, I don't know. I think people need to in general, like with this case, I see a lot of people making declarative opinions pretty
Right.
quickly, and I think I think in general, if we can be more okay saying, "I don't know," and that being an answer, there are some things we just won't know.
I can't. Bruce, let
Um,
me tell you, April 30th came. I didn't get a thing done.
yeah,
A thing. I was
no,
waiting because I wanted my definite answer about the way we were gonna go.
I know, right? I know. I think I like David Lynch movies, David Lynch, the artist, and, I think there was an interview. Somebody was like, "Well, there's this thing in your movie, and this question never gets answered." And he's like, "Look, you could go out in the woods, and what if there's a car there and it's, like, turning into rust? How'd that car get there? Who put it there? Who left it there?" And his point was, like, everybody involved with that car could be dead today, and there's nobody that knows how that car got there, whose it was, why it's left in the woods, and we will never know now. And we just have to be okay with "I don't know" being the answer to some questions.
I hate you, Bruce.
Yeah,
I hate you.
that's what I thought.
You are exactly like my brother-in-law, and we'll sit and we'll have these conversations, and he's
Yeah,
like, "You know what?
mhm.
Sometimes it's just the way it is." And I'm like, "Get out of my house before I punch you in the face."
Well, the other thing is, even if the answer's "I don't know," and this is Neil deGrasse Tyson, the next question is, "I don't know, what can we do to find out?"
Yeah.
Because then we can start doing science, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's not the end of the thing, but it's the start of the thing.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
have no
okay to say,
patience.
"I don't know."
Ugh. Mm, I don't like it. Preach, Bruce.
I
No. No. I'm tired of his logic.
Oh boy.
This is making me smarter, and I don't like it.
Oh.
Oh, boy. Do you have anything before we, wrap up here? Do you have anything that you would like to say about the case or to Laura Owens if she's watching right now?
No, no, I don't wanna talk to any of those people. Um, I don't know, we talked about the cult thing, we talked about the Lisa Chen thing,
Yeah, or
the,
if chat has any questions, we could bring
Mary
those up as well.
Lankins. Yeah, yeah. We talked about Dave and his case a little bit, which I like doing. Um, yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't know, we talked about hanging out at Clayton's Airbnb.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just so interesting, like, one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you is somebody who went through this and watched it
Mhm.
in real time and watch it unfold, because obviously I can jump to see how things are gonna
Yeah.
happen, and I'm still surprised, but you guys had to wait.
Yeah, and when it's happening live, it's surreal. Like, you're in the parking lot and people start arriving. And you're like, "Oh, Clayton just walked by," or, "There's, Greg Woodnick," or, random people, people
Mhm.
you've never met before, but you know them from the internet, Rosalind Duke or something, and you're like, "Oh, they're here."
Yeah.
There's a surreal aspect to it, and it's kinda wild because you can go back and now it's just a video on Schnitzel Ninja's channel, right?
Yeah, and
And
it's
you're like,
just
"Hey, I
it
was there." So that's interesting. What do we got? I see a question or 2. What do we
here. Did you know, that there was another Laura Michelle Owens who's an
Yes.
artist? I don't know if you've reached out to her. You know what? It's funny because every time I put Laura Owens and I don't put The Bachelor, I do always, pull her up. There's also a weird picture of her with Robert De Niro, which I find funny.
Oh,
Um,
I thought I heard that the artist was, aware of the case and was just kind of, bemused that the searches would get mixed up and stuff. I don't
yeah,
know. I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know. It's funny, I should reach out to her and ask her. It's interesting because I finally become on a level where people are, like, DMing me or they're emailing me and they're
Mm.
like, "Hey, please don't say anything, but" and I'm like, "Okay." Like,
Oh, I hate that. I hate putting stuff in the moose vault. I don't I mean, I'll do it, but I
it
don't
makes
like
me
to do
feel
it.
important.
No, I'd rather not know. I don't wanna know. Like, Dave would tell me things, and I'd be like, "Dave, why are you telling me this? I don't wanna know this."
Right.
In the early
No,
days,
me, give
early
me
days.
all the tea. Give me all the tea, girl. I need to know it
Yeah.
all. And I'm not gonna go anywhere with it, but I just wanna know it. What was the biggest thing you learned about the legal process during this whole thing?
Oh, wow. The legal system is expensive. That's number
Oh,
1.
yeah.
The legal system is very expensive. The legal system is slow, but it will grind its wheels.
Mhm.
So you have to be aware of that. I think if you are being questioned in a deposition or you're on the stand, you should say yes, no, I don't know, or I don't recall.
Or plead the 5th.
unless it's like, how many cheeseburgers at Culver's did you have last month? And then you say 4. You just a numeric answer or something
Why do
like
you know that?
but yes, no, I don't know, and I don't recall. And the difference is I don't know means I never knew. I don't recall means I may have known, but I don't know now.
Mhm.
So that's important.
Has there been anything that you've watched during this whole ordeal that you've been really disappointed in?
Ooh, disappointment.
Mhm.
Um, hmm. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, it would have been nice in the early days of the case for more people to cover it, and, like, I don't want to make I don't wanna make demands of people, okay? People can do what they want. If
Mhm.
this case is too much for people and they don't have time, I understand. But in general, it would have been nice if more people from maybe from the bigger Bachelor Nation had covered this case in more detail than just Dave and Reality Steve.
Yeah.
Because we had to go through and wait until, I think it was Law Talk with Mike. He interviewed Dave. Finally, someone interviewed Dave. And then I think he turned Megan Fox and Jeff Legal Vices onto the case. And that was huge. Just having those 3 people look at this case it blew our minds at the time.
Yeah. When did
So,
Volo come out?
um, well, I mean, I think there was like a wiki page that was always around,
Okay.
and there were the Reddits were trying to do their things, but, Laura kept trying to stomp them down. And then the Padlet was very nice because it had a sort of time-oriented view of things.
Mm.
So that was very helpful. I think the people doing the Padlet, maybe they talked to the Padlet app people and they were like, "This is the biggest thing." I imagine it's the biggest thing anybody's ever put on that app.
I don't even know
Like,
what that is.
so it's sort of like a pin board of based on dates, you can just show a timeline of things.
Oh,
And so it has yeah, it's very nice. Uh,
it's an app or it's a
well,
website?
I think it's a website, but you get the M version for your phone, but it can be very slow because there's so much in it. It's crazy. I don't think they ever expected anybody to put so much stuff in it.
Oh,
But anyway, that thing's cool, but it would have been nice for more, Bachelor Nation or news adjacent people to look at this case beyond the goofy Sun article that's just like, "Oh, Clayton might have gotten some lady pregnant, and he might be a deadbeat dad." Like, "Okay, thanks."
yeah, I
You
think
wanna
that if
look
this
into
goes
it.
to trial and it gets bigger, I think they're all gonna jump on it.
Oh, yeah, 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 for sure. Once you go to the criminal case, because I think Emily D. Baker's been aware of the case, the paternity case, for a long time, and people are like, "Hey, there might be a criminal case coming out of this." And she's like, "Oh, that's good to know,"
Yeah.
because she does crime, right? So, we'll see.
Oh,
The
somebody
I
just sent me the Padlet. Oh, this is
Yeah. Yeah,
nice.
yeah, take a look at that, and then, I think the other thing that's a little disappointing is, like, when you do these things like these IAH cases or the OOP or even the paternity case itself, they're just, like, there for an hour, like, or 2 hours, right? Like, it's like, can you guys understand this is a complex case and give it more time or, like,
They don't civil courts, they don't care, or, like, family courts, they do not
yeah.
care.
Like, I understand that 90% of the time, you probably just need an hour and you can tell, like, who is wrong, but not this is very complicated case.
Well,
So
and
anyway
also the amount of evidence that they don't allow in is insane.
Mhm.
And or like, Clayton's, he's like, "I have these videos," and the judge is like, "Yeah, I don't need to see them." Why? Like, this is a question for you because I don't know this. Do you know if California is looking into any charges?
Um, uh, I don't know specifically, but I think, let me put it this way, whatever they would need to look into, charge it like I'm sure they know that they can be looking into things. Let's just put it
Yeah,
that way, right? Like,
yeah.
um,
Um,
no
what do I
no yeah, nobody is, ignorant of what's going on, let's just put it that way.
Right, and I'm just curious if there's any way to, like, protect Mike. Where do I see this cast of characters in 7 years, or what do I see them doing? I see them trying to make some sort of documentary on their own. I Laura is gonna write a book, girl. She's gonna write a book about how she
Mm,
did it wrong. She's gonna Her and her mom are gonna start another podcast about how, this takedown of these men. And it's interesting because I'm curious. I don't know if this is a crime, like if she did take the plea deal, right? Like a lot of times um, you can't make money off your crimes due to like Son of Sam laws. So
correct.
I'm curious if that's one way she pays restitution, right? It's the same thing when OJ wrote the book and he had to give all the proceeds to the
Yeah.
Goldman family.
Mhm.
But girl, please, this family, especially Laura, is she is going to come out and try to I don't even think she needs to, in her brain, repair her reputation because she thinks that we all got it wrong. So she's
Mm.
gonna tell her story.
Yeah. I just find it disappointing because her story should already be in her court filings, and or the Medium posts,
Oh
which
god.
not even the Medium posts, but they're there, so I'm including them. But, like, if she was gonna try and convince me of something, she's already tried, and it didn't work, so what else can she do? Like, I don't know. Maybe just reach a broader audience, right? I'm thinking of it from the
Yeah.
personal point of view, but she could try to, reach a broader audience, I guess.
I think she's just gonna try. I think she's coming after content creators next. I think she has to. I think that's what she does. She has to go against people who argue against her.
Maybe.
Oh, I can tell you right now, isn't it, Jupiter? What is the most positive thing Bruce gained or learned from this case?
I know I have a special lady friend.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
so
think that's the cutest thing is
that's
all the
it.
camaraderie that's happened.
Yeah.
Also,
I
you have found love over Laura Owens not being able to find love.
That's true, and I mean, the broader context of that is just all these people, like, I mentioned this at the end of my video where I was responding to Gingris's blog. Like, I had 183 people watching, and they were all putting positive comments in the chat. If Gingras went live and tried to talk about whatever he talks about in his blog, would 183 people show up and put positive comments in his chat? I don't think so.
No.
So, it's the connections and the good times and trying to help. When, I think in the podcast, Danielle says, it's amazing to feel seen. The seeing being there to say to, Mike and Danielle, "If you need anything, let me know, because
Yeah.
I will send up the, moose signal," you know?
Yeah.
And maybe that's it. Just trying to help. Like I said before, I just wanna go run the soundboard and
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because 'cause you're like, "I don't wanna be a content creator," and here you are. It's just
yeah.
kinda you fumbled into this. I would say, like, the most positive thing for me is the I love discussions. I love conversations. I love learning things, and I love that this group you're allowed to disagree, and you're allowed to explain yourself when you do disagree, and they can explain themselves when they disagree. And sometimes you have to agree to disagree, but it's never like nobody's ever like, "Ah, fuck you." It's really neat to watch people have like constructive conversations even when you don't agree with what the other person is saying. It's been a lot of constructive conversations. It's been a lot of
Yeah.
learning. It's a lot this group is so smart and
Yeah,
so wonderful.
there'll always be drama between particular individuals or whatever, but in
Sure.
general, at least when you talk about the podcast or the YouTube videos or people, the Volo website or whatever it is, in general, it's people trying to just figure it out and trying
Yeah.
to make progress. You can look at a lot of other, I don't know, true crime or other YouTube things, and you'll find a video where someone's like, "So and so is blah blah blah," and they're just
Mhm.
like they're just tearing each other apart, and that,
Yeah.
it becomes the drama, and you lose sight of the foundation, right? The
Mhm.
like, the context becomes the story, not the story, and you can't lose sight. Like, Dave is always like, "I don't wanna be the story," until,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing
until
in
you
true
have to,
crime
but
too, when you cover a case, there's always somebody who I know this case. Then you make a YouTube video. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. Like,
yeah.
I'm trying my best here. Do you think Laura believes this is the end? It's hard to imagine she could pull the same schemes again without people Googling her first. Um, I personally think Laura is a perpetual victim. I think she'll try in some way to use this to her advantage. I think people like this are very good they're very good storytellers. They're very
Mhm,
good at getting you to believe their side.
mhm.
And I know that personally within family dynamics, there will be times where I have family members come and they question me about things and I'm like, why would you think that I said that or that I did that or whatever? And it's because
Mhm.
the other side of that is they're good. They're good at what they do.
Yeah. And I mean, the population, how many people are in the United States? Like 300,000,000 people or something. Like, there's only so many people that know about her or
Yeah.
would Google. So I'm sure she can go, she goes to the gym, she does whatever she wants, goes to the horse things.
Mhm.
I think, everybody's gotta wake up the next day, so
Yeah. Yeah. Do
we'll see.
you think that she got caught specifically because it was Clayton?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
100% because that Sun article, like, that's why Dave covered it because there's a Sun article about somebody who was on The Bachelor, and, okay, Bachelor Nation loves Bachelor news, so here we go.
Yeah.
Um, and that's very different than any of these other people that we've seen here, so
Well, and
that opened the door. That
I
opened
don't
the
know
door.
if it's just because of Clayton. I mean, I think Clayton is one part of it. I think her getting cocky and taking it to the press and going to Reddit. Oh my god, I remember when my video started to, like, pop off, and I was looking at, my analytics, and it was like, most of your outside sources coming from
Yeah.
Reddit, and I was like, "Oh, no." Like, I was so scared of Reddit when this all first started happening. I think she just
Yeah.
got too big for her britches, really.
Well, even if she hadn't gone to Reddit and started arguing with people, which was a huge mistake, because Reddit will figure you out.
Dude,
Don't mess with Reddit, they'll figure you out. Even if she hadn't done that, even if she hadn't done the Sun article, I think somebody out there would have found this case, or Clayton would have sort of talked about it somehow so that somebody could go figure it out, because Clayton had previously been involved with this case with this lady from New York who said she banged him, and he had to use his phone, Google Maps location, and Reality Steve had to look at the security footage and verify, "Girl in New York, you did not bang Clayton, sorry."
right.
And so he's already been through that, and I think he learned that, the best defense was a good offense in that case. Like, "Here's my evidence, here's Reality Steve, go talk to him, good luck."
Yeah, I just think up until the IAH hearing when he got Deandra, right? Like,
Mhm,
he gave her a lot of opportunities to get out, and I wonder had
mhm.
she taken any of them,
Oh, yeah.
this would not have gone this way.
Oh, yeah, if she had, if Clayton had been like, "Hey, I think last night was a mistake," and she had just been like, "Yeah, okay, bye." Uh-huh.
How do you feel about, Omar Serrato filing $109,000 worth of legal fees for Mike Maricini?
The legal system is expensive.
Yeah,
Part 2.
yeah, yeah. Shoulda filed for 200.
Oh,
Like,
boy.
I just because when, okay, so 109,000 worth of legal fees, okay? And this is kind of I don't know how comfortable you are talking about this on, with me, but I'll talk about it. When I brought that thing up about the Instagram, there's a lot
Mhm,
of people who, were saying that GoFundMe's should be transparent. But the thing about GoFundMe's and the thing about cases like this, and if you've never been in a court case or you've never gone through anything like this, the expense is not just money. It's
Mhm.
time. It's, finding out where your kids are gonna go. It's Mike and Danielle going, hours away from their house so that they could be blown off by Laura to go home to go back again.
Yeah.
It's time off of work. It's lost sleep. It's all the opportunities that Michael has missed, being able to get a job and then providing for his children. Like, who
Mhm.
cares if they're using this direct money for legal fees?
Yeah, there's
I
so
think
much more than the line items in a billing statement,
yes.
and, the way I kinda look at it is what's the expectation? So, if somebody tells me, "Hey, can you loan me $10 and I'm gonna do this with it," and they don't, then that seems like they, may be deceptive, but, people argue money's fungible, of course, but, if they never do the thing they said they were gonna do, that can be deceptive, right? But if someone's just like, "Hey, we're in a court battle, there's fees and all the intangibles you just mentioned,"
Yeah.
then it's fine. Like, I don't s like, if you want every public fundraiser to be fully transparent, I mean, I don't know, good luck, with that legislation. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere.
I view it
But
as
if
like it's
if
a
I don't if I just and then, the other argument I heard is, like, the Ron Owens GoFundMe. So, my take is that Ron Owens can do whatever he wants with his GoFundMe as long
Mhm.
as he's not like, if it's not allowed to use a GoFundMe for a criminal defense, and he has a daughter who's putting on a criminal defense, that could be a problem for him
Sure.
and his GoFundMe. I don't know all the legal details behind that, but that's one thing that concerns me. And then the other thing that concerns me is they didn't put their GoFundMe on their bankruptcy filing, which seems a little suspicious. But other than that, if Ron Owens wants to do a GoFundMe, he can do whatever he wants with it. I don't care. If somebody tells me and makes a promise to me that they're going to do something specific, then they break the promise, then I might be a little upset. But if I don't have an agreement with someone, I'm not going to be disappointed in them. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I'll put it this way, right? Like, so I ran that stream the other day and I said anything given on that day will go to Mike Maricini's GoFundMe. If
sure,
it turns around that June 2nd shows up and I don't give you the screenshot and I don't do exactly because you've now donated that money to me expecting it to go
yeah,
to wherever else. If I don't
yeah,
do that, that's a problem. But
yeah,
with GoFundMe's and stuff, for me, I feel like that's just like it's a gift. And if I were to give you 20 bucks for Christmas, and you were to go buy whatever, and I
mm,
can't be unhappy with that. It's a
yeah,
gift, it's gone. That's it.
yeah,
You felt so inclined to give, leave it alone. And also too, for somebody to get a GoFundMe and be like, I'm using this for I don't know, some situation.
medical
I
bills.
Yeah, I think it's very different than um asking a victim of a crime to, tell you where their money is going. And I actually asked Buffy and Llama the other day. I said, if it was a female sexual assault survivor, would it be the same? And Buffy said, probably. There's people on the internet who want to see where that money is going. And I'm like, you know what? These people have just been through so much. I find it to be just so gross to demand an itinerary, or a whatever line by line of where this money is going.
Mhm.
But I think $109,000 over the past 10 years is gracious.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of just try to my mental model is if I don't, I don't loan people money. I don't give a gift with an expectation of something in return.
Yeah.
Um, so if I loan someone some money, I don't expect them to give it back or pay back. They might, and if they do, that's great, but I try to keep my expectations low. I have this like analogy called the roller coaster analogy, which is like, let's say we're at the state fair and you come up to me and you say, "Hey, you're here. Do you want to go on the roller coaster?" And I say, "Oh, I ate uh, 10 hot dogs. And if I go on the roller coaster, I'll puke. So I can't." If you came into the state fair very, very happy, and then I tell you I can't go on the roller coaster, and suddenly you're upset with me because I'm not going to go on the roller coaster with you, which I never agreed to in the first place.
Right.
Why is your happiness decreasing? Your happiness should stay where it was when you started because nothing's changed, right? We
Yeah.
haven't changed the system. No variables have changed here. So I try to have that as my mental model. Where did I Where did you get the scones in Arizona, and were they good? So, somebody local there actually did effectively catering for us and brought a ton of food, not just scones. We had pasta
Oh,
salad,
that's fun.
and we managed to, do some Venmos and pay for all that and hopefully enough, but, yeah, there was someone who was gracious enough to come with a full catering setup for us.
That's awesome. Bruce, can I work for you? I want a logical manager who knows about fake pregnancies.
Well, I'm not a manager anymore, I'm an individual contributor, so sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Expensive is such a true statement and that the
Mhm.
laws can be interpreted different ways, good and bad. Yep.
That's going back to that question about what have I learned about the legal system, which I don't know if I learned it from this case, but it definitely sort of applied to all these cases we've looked at. I was on a jury. I was the foreman of a jury for a criminal trial. And the jury instructions from the judge were like, the person's guilty if 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, and 3 were like this day, this time, these people. So it was like yes, yes, yes. And the fourth one was like the actual statute or the crime. And it was a little subjective, like, did the defendant, do something that you think they shouldn't have done, basically? And it's like, well, it's up and we actually had some jury questions for the judge, and one of them was like, "How do we interpret this?" Like, it's and she's like, "Yeah, this is a gray area, and this is why you're humans and you're a jury. You
Right.
have to just you make a decision."
You just have to do it. Right.
And so it's not like, a computer where you can just, plug it or a calculator, you plug in the numbers, and you get an answer. We had to debate and all that jazz, and so that's another thing. It's not just a binary system in the justice system.
Yeah, it's hard too. And, a lot of times you think, well, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. But that's in criminal court. When you look at smaller things like, IAH hearings or, civil courts or family courts or things like that, it's very different. It's very different.
Mhm.
And a lot of times they go off on the things that you say. Whether final answers or not, what important good comes from our hyper focus?
Mm.
A couple of things I think. I think there's a lot to be learned from this case, not only about the legal system, but about predatory behavior and when somebody tries to weaponize it against you. But also, if she is able to take the plea deal and she is able to get a slap on the wrist, I hope that every time her name is Googled with this type of hyper focus, we show up first.
Mm.
I hope that every time she goes on a date, somebody Googles her and my fat head just shows up right there next to a picture of Laura Owens. And they're like, what's this?
Yeah. I mean, I think when there's to me, they always have this argument, "Oh, it's online harassment or cyberbullying or whatever," but to me, it's more people are just in general, people are just reacting to the news.
Mhm.
If there's a new court filing, if there's a new state of the case, people are reacting to it, and there are certain people who, follow the case because, you know, different people do different things, right? Like, some people crochet and some people, I don't know, follow this case. Some people, I don't know, go bowling, join a bowling league. I don't know. Different people have different hobbies. I'm not gonna give
I do
people a
all these
hard
things. I
I'm
crochet.
not
I'm on a
yeah.
bowling league.
I mean, I follow this case pretty closely, so I don't wanna go hard on people who follow the case too closely, as long as it's not, like, interfering with your life. Like
No, I just think I think there's a lot of people out there who are justice seekers and they want to see the justice happen. And I think that's part of the reason that this case is so just riveting
mhm,
because A, she has just her behavior has been abhorrent through this whole thing, but also you just watch her get away with it every scene. She's so slippery and
mhm.
it's enraging because it's like, when are you gonna learn? And she's not gonna learn because she's never been in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, there I don't know. Yeah, we live in a community or a society, right? So there is the criminal justice system, there's police, there's firemen,
Mhm.
right? There's ambulances, but we sort of have to sort of take care of each other or even hold each other accountable to some extent where applicable, right? We don't want to exceed our job, but
Well,
we
lucky
want
for
to.
me, this is my job.
I mean, there are good things, right? Like we've made connections. We talked about that before. We've made friends along the way. And like Clayton was talking about on one of his interviews recently, if these criminal charges or they don't make it or the plea deal's too lenient, you know, he could go say, "Hey, I want to go lobby for a Clayton's law that says something good, right? Like you have to like don't file paternity case until you have better evidence to file your case or something." I don't know.
Well,
We could
and you know what? Maybe something
advocacy.
yeah, maybe something good comes in the justice system, though. I mean,
Mhm.
I how
Yeah.
can you just file, establishment of paternity? First of all, you shouldn't be able to file establishment for paternity before the people are here, before you can do the test.
Yeah,
Because
that
had
could
the
be one
kids
rule, yeah.
been here, she wouldn't have been able to drag this out this long.
Yeah.
And that would have saved his legal fees. That should absolutely you cannot file establishment for paternity until you can test paternity, period.
Mhm. Yeah, something, like have some babies or at least have proof of clinical pregnancy, like some kind of criteria.
Even clinical pregnancy though, because what if I get pregnant and I say, "Okay, Bruce is the dad." Now you have to go through 8 or 9 months of court because I've claimed you, but I've been sleeping with Tom, Dick, and Dave and whoever else. But, I mean,
Well, now I'm heartbroken.
but I mean, that's the thing is like the children should be here because it should be as a protection to
Mhm.
the men out there. So that way they can say, okay, kids here, let's test them. Or
Yeah,
else I get 9 months to drag you through court.
yeah. I mean, having actual kids is better. I'm just
Sure.
saying I'm just saying proof of clinical pregnancy is better than what we have now, which is proof of nothing.
Yeah. But you can't,
Either way.
I don't know how you protect the victim, which would be the men in this case.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, let's see. Oh, let's see. Her story could include things we don't know. Don't forget that, Bruce, at least from her perspective.
Oh,
Hey,
I
Ronnie
see. I
gifted
see.
5 memberships. Thank you. Sorry, I'm way behind in chat. Thank
Mhm.
you, Ronnie. Um,
I feel like I'm skeptical that, because people were saying like, "Oh, wouldn't it," you could get, Laura on the podcast, right? And I'm like, "Well, we've already seen all her take on things from the court filings and the Medium blogs. Is she really gonna add anything to the podcast, or if she writes her own book?" Rob is correct. She could add details that we're interested in, I suppose, but,
you know what?
again,
I would
it
listen
comes
to it.
it comes back to, like, a trust level, like, am I gonna believe those things? Like, I have low trust with,
I
Miss
don't think it's
Owens.
about that. I think it's more like for myself, it's the same reason that I watched the Sherry Papini documentary, right? Like
Mhm,
God, I can't stand her and to listen to her and then come back and I just for someone like me, I'm like, I just want to prove your lies wrong. We
mhm,
have all the information. I want to prove it wrong. I would listen to it live.
mhm.
Live. Do you
Yeah.
think Greg can get his order dropped after a trial or jail?
Hmm.
I mean, if they prove her as a liar, maybe, probably.
I think he has a certain amount of time to fight whatever it is she last renewed. But if he doesn't want to do that, he would need to see when it expires, and then maybe he would be interested in telling his story then. Or if she's convicted on some of these charges, maybe he would tell his story then. I imagine if he's not interested in racking up legal fees and is just waiting to see how this criminal case goes, he may just be in a wait and see position because that's, an easier position to live with, right?
Yeah. Also, though, I mean, the one good thing about having a DVRO against you from Laura Owens is she also has to stay 100 feet away from you. I'd be like, "Let
Really?
me sign that
Nice.
shit right now."
Oh, boy.
This is very interesting. I didn't even know about this. Anyone else see that Lauren went live with Laura making new accusations against Mike? So I assume that's what I was just sent to me in my DMs. It's the Owens versus Maricini, Laura's request for extension.
Yeah.
And then their appellate.
That was the hour before this.
Oh, I didn't see that.
No, that's what I was doing before I came here.
Well, you're busy. We should have all just partied together.
I know. Well,
Uh,
she's gotta work. She's gonna come back tonight and do more on that on those there's new filings in the DeVero case that came out, so she
oh
went
my
over a little bit of it this morning in the hour before this, and she's gonna come back tonight to do more.
yeah, I'll be going live with her on Friday, so I'm very excited.
Ooh, perfect.
Um, I didn't really give her a chance to answer. I just in
Ask her, I should ask you. If you, had a furry persona, what would it be?
like a furry?
Furry, yeah.
Like a furry. Are we talking about the same furry?
Yeah, yif, yif, naughty, naughty, yeah, mhm.
A bear, I guess. I don't
Really?
know. Maybe I'd
That's
be like a
funny.
fox. I think like something with a tail would be cool.
We were doing a goofy stream where we were reading some of her old middle school diaries or whatever. I don't know how we got on this subject, but I asked her, "Lauren, if you were a furry, what would you be?" And she said a Wovlove, which is a toy that's like a Furby, but it has eggs.
All right, listen. I gotta tell you a story.
That's
So
some good lore. That's some good case lore right there.
I'm how old am I? I'm 20, 21 maybe. Maybe 20, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to this Comic-Con of sorts where
Mhm.
we live, and we get in the elevator and these people walk in and
Mhm.
they're dressed up and I'm like,
Mhm.
"What is that?" And
Yeah.
they get out and I'm like, "Hey, you guys, they were dressed pretty cool." And my
What's
friends
going
are
on there?
dying. They're
Mhm.
laughing and they're like,
Yeah.
"Do you not know what that is?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "No." They're like, side by side from where we were at, they're like, they have a furry
Mhm.
convention.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, these people dress up as, like, animals?" And they were like, "Dude."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh my god." Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, I think the joke is that they had to cancel the furry convention because they didn't want all the furries on one airplane at a time, because if the plane crashes, then the United States IT infrastructure will all be broken.
What?
Anyway,
'Cause of
because the
furry?
furries are all dorky IT engineers or whatever. I don't know. That's the joke.
A mug that you know what? I don't have one with my logo on it. I haven't, like, made a logo because I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
Or
Rob's collecting all the mugs. Yeah.
that's cool. I want a mug. Who else has mugs?
I have a mug.
I want a mug. I'm gonna buy
Yeah,
your mug.
there you go.
Alright.
They have
Yeah,
a
I've just been
delicious
making stupid
coffee.
shit and put it on shirts. I also just made a mug for my sister's, college fund. We'll put those funds directly to her college that says, TR and B-hole.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Definitely been some weird tangents in this case for sure.
I gotta tell you, I told my husband that. I said, "Do you think that you would ever, be interested in these 2 things?" And he's like, "You know, if you presented me with the first one, I'd immediately said yes. But then when you brought up the second one, I no, no."
Wait, what? What are these things?
About
What?
Tony Robbins.
He wants to watch Tony Robbins?
Do you know about those texts?
No, I mean, I know. Yeah, 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 I know all the lore. I'm just saying, like, I don't know a lot of people that are like, "Yeah, I wanna watch Tony Robbins tonight." Like, I'm
No,
just a
that's the
little.
thing. That's the thing. I asked him, I said, "Hey," I was like, "Hey, do you wanna do anal and watch Tony Robbins?" And he was like, "What?" I was like, "'Cause I just sent
Oh,
him the
because
stuff
you
from this."
reversed the order. I
Right,
see.
and
Oh,
I
okay.
just sent him stuff from this case, and he's like, "I don't trust you anymore."
It's like, just turn the Tony Robbins off.
Right, he's
Yeah.
like, "I don't, why did you do this to me?"
Oh, yeah. And do you know about FLAD?
No, I'm
That's
seeing that in the
lore.
chat. What is that?
FLAD stands for Family Law After Dark. So Omar, at the beginning of the case, he would do this Friday show called Family Law After Dark, FLAD, and he would go get, legal case stories from Reddit, like questions, relationship questions, legal,
Yeah, I wanna do
divorce,
that.
and he would pick these stories, and he would have some people on and discuss what people thought, you know, 'cause sometimes these were questions like, "Should I divorce my husband?" And, these it's like, first of all, if you're asking if you should get divorced on Reddit, the answer is probably yes. But anyway, we'll talk about it.
Right.
And, we would have a lot of fun, doing that, but I think he's a very busy guy these days, so, we haven't done it in a long time.
We'll have to
But
get him on the phone.
It was a lot of good times. We had Schnitzel Ninja and Brad and me and some other people that would come in and talk about the, cases and stuff.
I would love that. I just love talking to the lawyers. I always wanted when I was a little girl, when
Oh,
I was
yeah.
5, I look at my daughter, she's 6, and I'm like she's like, "I wanna be a unicorn, sparkle, sparkle, glitter," and I'm
Mhm.
like, "I wanted to be a prosecutor." Like, we're
Oh,
just
yeah,
different
and
people.
it's nice because Omar's there, and you can be like, "Now, Omar, if you're going into court and this is happening, how do you handle it?" And he can answer those questions because it's not his case, right? So, it's really good to get some insight about the law process from it.
Right. Yeah, it's and he's very knowledgeable. Like, I very much enjoyed listening to him.
Yeah.
Um, let's see, what other
Or their
questions we have?
breadsticks, yes. June
Oh,
10th, we had
Megan is
breadsticks, yeah.
here, or Megan was here, maybe we missed her.
Yeah.
Hi, Megan.
Yep, yep.
Hello.
Mhm.
Um,
Critical.
I was a
Oh,
office manager for a four-partner law firm, absolutely know how much it costs. Honestly,
yeah.
I had no idea how much it cost until I went through it myself, and
It's crazy.
I was, shocked and appalled.
Yeah. I heard I got some Megan
Oh,
Fox.
Omar's here.
Yeah, he's
Maybe.
here. I got some Megan Fox lore, funny story.
Tell me.
So, there was,
Tell me the tea on Megan.
in the early days of the Discord, people realized they could make pictures with AI, right? Like, that started to become a thing,
Mhm.
and, so people were trying to figure out how weird they could make the AI photos, and somebody had, like, romance cover novel type things, and they were
Oh,
like, "Well, if
no.
I use this engine." Oh, wait, did we freeze? What's going on?
No, I still
Oh,
see
you're
you.
there, okay.
Yeah, no,
And
I'm just trying to get the chat up too while I'm
yeah,
listening.
yeah, and someone was like, "Well, if we use this engine, that you can't make nudity, but if you use this engine, it'll make nudity." So so we're like, "Well, let's put this over in its own little channel over here because this is getting a little weird." And so we did that, and then right before one of these hearings or something with Gingras is like, "I got this email that somebody said there's naked pictures of me and Laura in this Discord. Can someone send me the naked pictures of me? Because I think it'd be funny to see."
Yeah,
And
he's like
I'm just like, "Bro, there's no naked pictures of you in the in the Discord." And I had to go on. I was like, in the chat of some Megan Fox stream, and she's reading this Gingras email, and I'm like, "I'm telling you, there's no naked photos." Like, and I was like, "This is my life right now. I am, putting on my defense to Megan that there's no naked photos. We would have
"Ugh,
deleted those. We're not gonna allow those, right?" Like, oh boy.
why
That's a
haven't
wild
you
time.
complimented Lauren on her new, hairstyle, Megan?"
Oh.
Looks like we're gonna get cult v cult
Megan
representing.
always likes to spend 15 minutes at the start of streams talking about her hair or the person in the courtroom's hair or your hair or my hair. I don't know. Yeah.
I do have to say, Megan, it's funny because people were like yesterday, they were like, "Hey, you did that, you know, you said that, whatever, that's so great." And I just laughed because I'm like, "That's some shit me and my sister do on a fucking Tuesday." Like, it doesn't bother me to call out people that I don't think are doing right. What are you gonna do, be mean to me? I'm meaner,
Mhm.
bitch. Like,
Oh boy.
but, yeah, it was just so funny. The reception that I got to that, I'm like, "Y'all don't talk shit?" Like, oh god, so funny. Um, please leave crochet out of her BS. What did my yarn ever do to you?
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody said, I said Laura Owens could have been a good romance novel writer, and someone was like, her Medium articles suck. And I'm like, well, like, what is it? Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey. Those did really good, and they're not like, the caviar of writing or anything. I think Laura could have done something there,
Oh my god.
right? I don't know.
I don't know.
In
I
my
don't know.
defense.
She's like she's just writing her story. She's like, "And then we fell in love, but then he fell out of love with me. So I decided to get a DVRO against him. But then after my 47th, 100th email, he decided to come back to me because he knew he was wrong. And he really did love me. And he was the
Mm.
man that I thought he could really be."
Yeah,
Oh my god.
crazy. 50 Shades of Jan Black. Yeah.
God. They are one-dimensional people.
Oh, boy.
Let's see what else we have. To me, cyberbullying would be following her account to intimidate or directly condemn her and harass her, send her DMs and emails. But talking about public records and actions is public discourse. You know, it's funny too, because being a content creator,
Sure.
my neighbors, they like don't understand this world at all. And they're
Mhm.
like, how do you deal with it when people talk shit to you? I'm like, first of all, I enjoy it. Second of all, if you don't bring it to my doorstep, it does not exist, girl. Like, I am not like Laura Owens. I am not in the chat typing bacon bears to see like all the nasty things people have said about me. And anything that you can say about me, my brain, girl, way meaner. The beginning of the morning, you can't get to me. But yeah, it seems from the hearing that the video tapes out there, I seem to come up quite quickly when searching her name according to her. What? Oh, you?
I think he's saying you still need some work to overtake him in the search engine optimization.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just I don't know, man. I don't
Who
know.
knows?
I think going after content creators while you're facing prison is a choice. Oh, where are
Yeah.
you getting this from? Is this like a Laura Owens thing? Like, it doesn't count. That was yesterday.
What?
They they were talking about Lauren calling Omar names, and she's like, "That was, like, yesterday." That's Laura when they're like, "You have 14 felony counts." She's like, "That was, like, 3 months ago, you guys."
Yeah, keep up with the latest filings, come on.
Yeah, God.
Mm,
I'm way behind on chat. Sorry.
right?
Legislation
We have
needs to
more
change, and we can all
we
work
have more
together on
questions.
that.
Have you been following the bar case, the Gingras bar case at all?
No, I've listen, I'm trying to get as much done before we go to this trial, okay? So I've decided we did the ADRE, we did
Yeah.
the investigation report. So I thought it would be a good idea for me because I have covered none of the Greg Gillespie stuff. I've just only touched the surface. So I think
Mhm,
starting next week on Monday, I'm gonna go all Greg Gillespie. And
mhm.
then after that, I'm gonna go all Clayton, everything, all the everything that they have that I can find. Um,
Ooh,
and then I'll go into the other stuff. I have no problem covering the bar stuff, the bank. I live here now. This is where I live. I live in the land of Laura Owens.
yeah, there's a lot to think about. I didn't know if you had a take on any of the bar filings or anything, but, I've been talking with Patrick about that, so we'll keep working on that, I guess.
What do you think about them? And Patrick is a lawyer. Yes. I don't know I haven't met Patrick
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, yeah. I first met him on Lauren's channel, so
Mm,
he's been helpful explaining things. Because there are certain things where if you're just in the court of public opinion, you can read a filing and you have certain opinions about it, but he's able to explain how lawyers or judges might be looking at it that's different than a member of the public, and that's very valuable.
okay. What kind of lawyer is he?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Well, I listened to her with Omar. You better be trolling me right now.
You know, that's another good video for you to watch when you have the time is Omar's first video about this case because
He's
he did
talking
a
about Sherry Papini right now. You better be trolling me right now.
Oh, is he? I thought he was talking
Absolutely.
about Laura
No,
'cause
he's
that's also true.
he's too nice. He's
Oh,
too
okay.
nice. And I don't care to hear it.
Well, I mean, you gotta start from the null hypothesis, right? You just start from the default. This is right? People are not pregnant until they prove they are. I don't know anything about this Papini case, but,
Sherry Papini faked her own kidnapping, and she went
oh,
to her boyfriend's house, and then she had her
mhm.
boyfriend, like, kick the shit out of her, and then she came back and she was like, "It was 2 Mexicans." And then, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not good.
I hate Sherry Papini.
Oh, that's trouble. Yeah, there's some troubling cases out there. Some of them are too much for me. I can't. It's too hard, um, because the stuff's too like, with kids and stuff, it's too much, you
I
know?
just caught up to Furry Chat, I think a red panda would be good.
Oh, there we go. We gotta order you the costume now. That's very good. Yeah. But no, I mean, I thought he was talking about Laura because you should go watch Omar's very first video on this case because he just comes in cold. He's
Get ready
like
to get roasted, Omar. Get ready.
and the hilarious thing is a lot of times, like, when you're doing these things, you take these paragraph breaks and you read the chat, right? And you talk to the chat, and then you read the next few paragraphs, right? Omar is there just talking to, like, his guests in the room, and he's going through and we're all in the chat, like, screaming, like, you know, "But then this happened," or, "No, that's not what," you gotta go to page 4,
Yeah.
Omar,
Well,
like,
that was my chat
it
when I'm
was
like, "Maybe Jan's just, like, trying to be a good mom," and my chat's like, "No!" I'm like, "Guys, chill."
Yeah. And I
Finally,
mean
we'll all be
and
collecting
and
Social Security.
I wanted Omar to come in cold and tell me what he was thinking, right? In terms of being a viewer of the video, but it's so hard because like, factual things, like, it's factually true that this letter is on page 4 or something like that, so you're just, like, trying to get him to pay attention to that.
Right. Yeah, chats
It
are
was
real.
hilarious. It was hilarious.
Let's see, furry gathering thing in San Jose, a lot of brain trust in those costumes.
Not surprised.
Mine's gonna have chaps. Bacon would be perfect for a flat. Let's go. Oh, man, I'm behind. Can you see it in real time,
Chaps. Can I see what?
the chat?
Well, I mean, I see the StreamYard chat on the side.
Yeah, but you see it in real time because I backed it up, right? Bacon bears.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm not
Do you think
scrolling
he may
around.
come for the trial in July if it comes to fruition? No, it was funny because somebody in my chat was like, "We'll fund for you to go," and I'm like, "No, no, no," because I can't be like, I don't know, I can't be like, "Objection, Your Honor!" I can't. Like, I just and my face, if
Mhm.
Laura got up on the stand, I would be like, "Shut the fuck up." Like, I just
Oh,
don't think I could do it.
well, this is why this is one reason why Dave was streaming from the Tech Fan on June 10th, because Dave said, "If I'm in the courtroom and she starts saying some bullshit about me, the
Yep,
bailiffs are gonna have to drag me out of the courtroom." And I'm
yep.
like, because I'm
Yeah.
gonna be like, "Here's my piece of paper that shows you did fraud." Like, I printed it all out for him, and he had all his papers. Oh,
Yeah, I don't have enough tact to be in a courtroom. I mean, even when I went through the process with my sister and, the judge and stuff, I was, like, in my head the whole time. I had to black out because I couldn't even listen to him. I'm like, "Shut up, shut up, shut up." Like, I can't do it.
yeah.
If she writes a book, would she have to ask permission and get people to sign off if she wants to write about them? Otherwise, could she be sued for slander or defamation? I don't know. That's a great question.
I don't think she needs permission. If she does something defamatory, you can always do a defamation case. Those are hard to do, but you can do them. I think your point is more interesting about the son of Sam laws. Like, if because
Yeah.
Clayton can just follow her around now and be like, "Can I have my money now?"
Right.
Until he gets it. So there you
Right.
go.
Oh my god. The last thing we need is a romance novel with fake twins, dating contracts, Tony Robbins, and sandwiches with mustard on both
Oh,
sides. You know what,
it could
Jupiter?
be.
I that just sold me right there. I'll read that book.
That's what I'm saying. A Laura Owens universe where she didn't do all this stuff to these people and was so litigious, and she just wrote romance novels and rescued old dogs would be a amazing universe. I don't know.
Her writing does beat every word in 50 Shades.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it made money. 50 Shades, those things made money. I'm not saying it's good.
Oh god. Let's see. I can't wait to see the blog from Dingus after seeing Omar's new filing. Dingus cost Laura big time in the DVRO case and his attempt to intervene.
Mhm.
I want to blog, you guys. I want to be a part of the. I'm going to frame it. I told him, I
What?
was like, if I get a cease and desist, I'm going to frame it and put it right here.
Ew. I don't. um,
Oh,
I
God.
don't know. But I think you were right in your stream after some reflection because, if he had something really witty in there about me, I would go put it on my LinkedIn. Like, why not?
Yeah.
It's like, uh, Yeah, here's this nasty quote about me from, Gingras Esquire, who lost the Owens v. Eckerd paternity case and its appeals, and I just put that on my LinkedIn, like, "Look at that." But
Yeah,
his things aren't even good enough to put on LinkedIn.
dude.
Just insults.
You're like, "My name is Bruce, ultra moron, whatever."
Like work harder.
Oh my god. I can't, and you know what? I think the thing that bothers me the most about that is, like, I talk shit, so I
Mhm,
expect somebody on the internet to not like me and talk shit back. I
mhm.
understand that.
Sure.
You cannot write those things, and then when somebody says something back, cry about it. You can't be like, and that's all they do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this reversal of people are reacting to court filings, people are reacting to news stories, and they look at it as harassment. But it's reactive, right? If there were no court filings, no we wouldn't make videos.
Well, and also too, like, you're a public figure. I fully expect to come online at some point and be like, find a video that's like, Bacon Bears fucking sucks. Like, people are just not gonna like me at some point, you know?
Rude.
And that's what you do. If you're a public figure, people are gonna make those videos.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Um,
Or you'll at least get the 1 in 100 comment that's unhinged.
Mine are mostly about men talking about how they can't take me seriously because I have a neck tattoo.
Really?
Yeah. They're like, "I can't take you seriously because you have a neck tattoo." And I always respond back, "My husband takes it very seriously when he uses it for target practice."
Shit. Wow.
That was back when Gingy and Lo were trying to get Omar on their side before they knew anything about her nonsense. That's
Yeah,
crazy to me.
yeah.
I just found out that Omar has emails. I need to see them.
Oh,
I need them in my possession.
well,
Right
he's on the case now.
now. I
Yeah, I
know.
mean, it was crazy because they had gone to the PS Creative to do their own podcast, right? Because Gingras is like, "Well, everybody's making videos and there's Dave Neal, so we need our own, you know, whatever it is." Or Clayton went on Nick Vial. "We need to do our own thing." So they go to the studio and make their own thing. They never released it. They tried to do a chargeback because they were like, "The audio is broken." And then we talked to the lady at the podcast studio, and, she's like, "Well, the mics you have to sync up the mics with the video in your video editor." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, like, that's easy." Like, I could do that in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But they tried to do a chargeback on her, but while they were doing that, they made these videos where they were even like, "Oh, maybe we'll have, Omar interview Laura at some point," or something. Like, they were high on Omar for a while until they weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want him on their side. Tell me about your book.
Oh, yeah. So I used to do, this thing called NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, where you spend a month and you try to write 50,000 words or more in a month,
Wow.
like a challenge. And I've done it a couple times. So I've written, 2 and a half, I don't know, 2 of these short novels, right? And, I recently so when I was on my fake retirement, I took one of them and scrubbed it and just cleaned it up and put it on Ingram Spark, and, I think they finally sent me a check for, like, $11, and I said I would put all the, profits to, Parkinson's research,
Mm.
and, so I need to do that, but I'll do more than $11, but
I think you should put this on your LinkedIn. Bruce the Moose, eater of pigs.
eater of yummy.
Love it. Didn't she just file a motion on Mike's DVRO? She didn't take
Yes.
the plea and then filed that. So, yeah, I haven't read that yet, but this looks like appeal, the appeal and then their response to it, right? Is that what I'm looking at?
Well, she wants the time to correct the record, so she makes this big crazy argument about trying to correct the record, and then we have, Omar's information about fees and the details. Omar's documents actually have a nice timeline in them for case details for the GVRO case. So
Okay.
it's a good summary. At least I skimmed it this morning, so.
Yeah, maybe I should cover that tomorrow. I have my members only chant tomorrow, so whatever they wanna.
Mhm,
We usually watch
mhm.
videos of Gingras that have been scrubbed from the interwebs.
Ooh,
That's fun. I like to kick my feet up and laugh.
yeah. Yeah, he was doing YouTube videos for a while, when the blogging didn't quite work, or well, he started out on X, and then he did the videos because he complained about X, and then, I guess he lost his privileges to post on YouTube.
Yeah, somebody said it was about, like, a naked Borat video.
That's his story, yeah. Because you can, you can do YouTube Shorts and upload clips and things and try to get some watch hours out of that and all that jazz, but in
Hey,
Bo
Auntie
in
M, thank you.
yeah. In Borat, there's a scene where the 2 guys run around a hotel naked, so if he accidentally uploaded that, that would probably get him in trouble.
Oh my god. Alright, well, then tomorrow we'll do the appeal, and then we'll do, Omar's response.
Mhm.
We'll do that because I am interested to see. Now we're talking about Omar's feet. What are we doing?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another deep lore meme. Because in Flat, at some point, Omar accused me of having a foot fetish.
Winks and Wilts, what are you guys doing? Oh
Woo!
my god.
20. Look at that.
Good
And the other 5.
lord. Thank
Nice.
you. Thank you, thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
No platform can hold the gringo. Oh my god. I would throw off my
Ah,
disco party if I could, but I'm not an OBS.
talk about
Uh,
a chaos agent.
who oh my god, him? Yeah. Yeah, the members only is gonna be crazy tomorrow. Yeah, so we'll do that. We'll go over the appeal and then we'll go over the response. I think that'll be fun. Um, yeah, I just it and it keeps getting weirder. Like it just keeps getting and right when you're like, and and I was listening to that in the last wait, did a new Love Trapped come out?
Those come out on Thursday.
Oh, I thought it was Wednesday. Oh, it's like Wednesday at midnight, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So my when I was listening to it, and you're listening to Mike and Danielle in the last episode, and they're like, she can't do this again. She's not going to do it. Like, there's no way. And then she comes back and she does it. It's funny because you think you know where she's going, and then she just changes it up, and it's wild. Oh, the final one is tonight. Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
Maybe there might be some bonus or something, but yeah, the official final episode is the next one, I guess.
yeah. I really hope that they go on to do one with Greg and Mike. And I mean, even, and I know Mike can't talk about it right now. And I know Greg can't talk about it right now. I would love to watch or talk to their wives because it's not just about how it's affected the men. It's about
Mhm.
how it affects their families as a whole. And as a wife, what is that like, right? When you have another woman just like infringing on your territory. I had that in the beginning of dating my husband,
Mhm.
his ex-girlfriend. We didn't know at the time she had followed us on our first date. And
Oh, no.
yeah, she was like where we were. We had no idea. And I don't know if it was like her and her sister, but um she would come to the places that we were at. She would be seen around the house. She started messaging me on Instagram. She started trying to follow me on Facebook, just going all these different routes. I would get phone calls all the time. And it's just interesting. Like after we got engaged and then after we have a family, still trying to connect with friends to like be this person inside of our lives. And I know it's my husband's ex, and I'm so overly protective of my husband. But as a woman, and now these are my children, I'm like,
Mhm.
I'll kill you. And it's
Oh,
hard
boy.
when you have somebody coming in on your territory like that.
Mhm.
I can't imagine what that's like for Danielle, or I believe
Yeah.
Greg's wife's name is Ashley, to have
Mhm.
this weight of a woman hanging over your life.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. When we were at the, was it the comedy show in Arizona, before the June 10th hearing and everything, Clayton's, parents were there, and, some of the Q&A, people asked Clayton's mom questions, and it was sad, for to hear her story of what she went through as
Yeah.
Clayton went through it, right? So, yeah, it is interesting to hear those perspectives for sure.
Well, and that's the thing,
Um
like, I'm Clayton's mom might be different, but that's one of the reasons that I asked him about his mom because
Mhm.
I go to battle for people that I love. straight to battle, and I couldn't imagine finding out that a woman was doing this to my son, but finding out that her mom is in on it would
Mhm.
send me to the fucking like,
Oh, yeah.
ah! We'd have police called.
That's
It would be
crazy.
a problem.
Well, as your fake internet lawyer, I cannot advise you to commit crime. Don't commit crime.
Don't crime.
No,
Crime
don't do it.
less.
Mhm.
Um, I don't have the same first name as Lo, feeling like I need to change my username. Laura owns everything. We
That's
haven't
how
heard
S that's how Sarah feels about Sarah Boone case.
Oh god, I bet. I bet. She's another monster.
Yeah.
Good lord. We haven't heard from Ashley in videos, but each time we hear from Danielle, she's so amazing. I believe she is a therapist as well, so she has a very unique perspective. Oh,
Mhm.
I'm so sorry about the ex-girlfriend. Oh, thanks. We got through it. We got through it. But, I mean, in the beginning, it was interesting, right? And I look at these relationships because in the beginning, my husband was like, "She's gonna ruin this for me." And for me, I was like, "I don't care about this fucking bitch." Like, I don't it doesn't bother me none. But,
Mhm.
it's just interesting because, they just try to drive a wedge in these relationships. And for some people, it might work, and Mike and Greg might not have their wives and might not have their families had these women not been able to just be like, no, I see you for who you are and who you are with me, and that this isn't accurate.
Yeah, I think especially in the Mike case, we have seen the documents that show that she was interfering, right, in
Oh,
some of
yeah.
those dates and things like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Showing up. Yeah. Or I mean, just Mike talking about in the podcast how he walked into a restaurant with a girl he's seeing, and then she's there.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then, they come up, her and her mom come up to the table. If that was me, I would be like if that was my daughter, I'd be like, "We're leaving.
Yeah.
Don't leave them alone."
Ooh.
But, yeah, I would listen to a podcast by Danielle as well.
Mm.
Anyways, Bruce, I have to go get my children that actually exist. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for being on the podcast with me. Anything you wanna say before we sign off here?
Nope.
You're like, "I was done talking 58 minutes ago."
No, it's fun hanging out and, the questions in chat. It's good.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy having
Mhm.
these conversations. But
Sure.
anyways, all right, guys, if you're not
No.
subscribed already to myself or Bruce, please consider doing so. I think do you have memberships?
No, well, so I did when I was on my fake retirement, but when I got a job again, I'm like, I can't do YouTube very much, so I'm just gonna turn all that stuff off.
Okay. Well, go subscribe to Bruce. Make sure. I
Mhm.
think you're all already subscribed. I think that's how I got you over here is because you were
Yeah,
friends with Bruce. But
of course.
yeah, so tomorrow for me it'll be members only live. We'll go over the DVRO stuff. And then next week we will start Greg Gillespie. So with that being said,
Mhm.
goodbye everyone.
Yeah. Happy to be here. Have me back anytime.
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
All right, friends. Bye.